Thing. Is everybody? Yeah, cool. Hey. How is everybody? As we're trickling in. Can everybody hear me? YouTube is telling me that you can't hear me, but I'm not sure I believe. Cannot hear me talking, or you cannot hear the game, let me know. And like I said, YouTube is giving me the little warning suggestion that my audio is bitrate or something. That my bitrate is 0 for audio, so that would, yeah, that'd be... Hopefully everything is doing just fine. Wait. So, anyway, I accidentally changed my lighting a little bit by replacing some light bulbs. Apparently one of them had exploded at some point, so that's cool. Overhead light. So, that's cool. Anyway, so... Good to hear from you. So, all set, getting ready to jump back into it. So we're going to do one more mission today, and then a sort of major midpoint mission, sort of partway through sort of Act 2 of the game, which is the thumbnail of that mission. I'm not sure if I'm probably going to do Jacob's Loyal, which is thematically pretty rich, definitely watching, worth playing, and worth talking about. So that, I don't know if it'll be a good time. It's actually pretty dark, but definitely thing time. All right, and we're still on all right. That's I think that's everything we have to do. So let's get out of here. This is right where we left off last time after doing Miranda's mission. Sister. Or, you know,
life can be uncertain.
Sister in a sense.
That's why you need an omni-gel programming solution that works. Whether constructing single-use equipment or breaking down salvaged gear.
Do you have anything flashier? I want something that says, I own this room.
Yeah, so Miranda and all of the...
Are you shorting prefabs?
Her sister,
Why not?
so to speak.
I did it after he did
No, you
Also
don't
winds up being
understand.
interesting.
I lost it somewhere near the transport terminal.
We should help her out before I talk about
Pardon me, I'm dealing with damn Ilium travel bureaucracy.
Were you trying to get them to help you find this locket?
Oh, Stephen, thank you. Thank you so much. My daughter was young when he died. This is the only memento she has of him. Please accept this. It's much less than I would have had to pay the bureaucrats to authorize a search.
that. Aw. Nice.
Hey, are you okay? You seem touchy. It's not biotic neural itching, is it? I've tried
Itching?
everything.
Okay,
Don't
that's
let
weird,
anyone
but
know,
alright.
but I had the
Anyway,
same thing.
so yeah, what I was saying, that the mission really spoke a lot, which I didn't get to talk about too very much. It spoke a lot about the issue of sort of depersonalization, as treating persons as objects to be used and to be kind of invested in and replicated and all of that. And I think again that's a big theme of this game, of the sort of depersonalization of persons. Whereas we have like the personalization of machines and
Commander, you've received a new message at your private terminal.
in other games, right? In other parts of the Mass Effect trilogy. In this one, it's a big deal about the sort of depersonalization of persons, both human beings, aliens, or human beings in the broad sense, let's say. So that would also, that talks about you have the case of Miranda. Hey, Wizkid. Oh yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. Glad you made it. Miranda and her sister obviously are examples of this sort of thing. We even have Shepard herself, right, who was collected like an artifact and reconstructed, and there are all sorts of concerns about her humanity, in the fullest sense. All right, so this is from Corporal Toombs. What the hell kind of game are you playing, Shepard? You did the buddy act when I had that gun on that Cerberus scientist, telling me you understood. Now I find out you're working for Cerberus? Tests were done on me that you can't even imagine. For years, Cerberus did them. They tortured me. They used me as a damn lab rat. Now you're teaming up with them like they're any other merc band? I got my own merc team now, Shepard, and I kill any Cerberus team I can find. If I run into you, don't expect any different. Toombs, if you recall, was a former squad mate of Shepard when she lost basically her entire squad to a Thresher Maw attack. But was instead captured by Cerberus and experimented on. Again, there's a lot of sketchiness of having to do with Cerberus that really should make us question our working with and for them. Thankfully, there are plenty of opportunities to subvert Cerberus throughout. So let's take them. So from Detective Anaya, we just helped out with Samara. I'm not completely sure this will get to you, but thanks again for helping me deal with Samara. The Eclipse mercs have gotten real quiet around here, and my superiors have backed off too. No idea if the two are related, but hopefully the next time I meet a Justicar, I can give her the respect she deserves. Still can't believe I worked a case with one of them. You're a lucky human. I find a lot more data. If I find any more data on her target, I'll pass it along. Thanks, Detective Anaya, Ilium Law. Again, this is another thing that we talked about quite a bit last week, so I won't rehash it too much. Yeah, WizKid, Toombs is big mad and totally justifiable. Let's be real about this. He's totally justified to be Shepard for teaming up with, Shepard, his former commander, or teaming up with the organization that slowly and madly tortured him.
I think you'll want to talk to Garrus.
For a good long time. Oh, let's talk to Garrus. We might do his loyalty mission first. Maybe. Kind of want to bring Jacob on the next mission though. So we'll probably still do Jacob's first. We might get to Garrus's after the big
commander's put together an impressive team. I've never worked with so many aliens before.
They're a small army. We might just pull this mission off.
Yeah. WizKid says, it's also comforting to know that everyone in the parlor missed me. Yes. Been feeling kind of down lately, and it's nice to know I've been thought about. Yeah, definitely. It's easy to forget that people will notice when we're gone, but people definitely. You're ever not sure if that disappear for a day or two? People will notice. That goes for really anybody. We all have lots of people to whom we make a difference in their world, You're not the protagonist of everybody else's story, but you are certainly a character.
Shepard, I'm glad you came by. I've got something. I may need your help. You remember Suetonius, the one who betrayed my team? I found a lead on him. There's a specialist on the Citadel, name's Fade. He's an expert at helping people disappear. Suetonius was seen with him.
What are you planning to do when you find him?
You humans have a saying, an eye for an eye, a life for a life. He owes me 10 lives, and I plan to collect.
You sure that's how you want to play it?
I'm sure. I don't need you to agree with me, but I'd like your help.
What happened? How did Suetonius betray your team?
He tipped off the mercs, told them where our base was. He drew me out with a false job, then let the mercs hit my team. My men weren't prepared. They tried to hold them off. By the time I got back, there were only 2 survivors. They didn't last long. All 10 of them dead. Because of him.
Alright, let's do it, and
Where do we find Fade?
I've arranged a meeting. We'll meet him in a warehouse near the Neon Markets down on Zakera Ward. Thanks, Shepard. I appreciate you taking the time to help me.
When we do get to this one, whether that's tonight or next week, this will give us a good chance to talk more about revenge. which we've talked about on our Red Dead streams, but not really in the context here. Talking about revenge and justice and how they overlap, and importantly. WizKid says, "Oh, I know. Lewis loves to randomly message me and just generally shitpost, but it can be easy to forget at times how we touch the lives of those around us. In both." Well said. Well said. Skelly here. Cool. Alright, let's go to... Nope, not going to give Liara intel. Where do I help? I could do a minor little side mission, but I'd rather do... Don't worry, it won't crash until we actually go to the system, which is dumb, but okay. Yeah, let's go over and help Jacob. Let's do that first. So the missions of this part are on a timer. By that I mean you have a certain number of missions to do before the next major one triggers, and I believe, if I'm counting right, we have one left, which is why I'm selecting this very carefully. WizKid says he could be a poet if he actually had any desire to write good poetry all the time. I wouldn't know. I don't even have the competence of such things to judge good versus
Anomaly
bad poetry.
detected.
Yeah.
General distress. MSV Hugo Gernsback. Registration BW46100340.
Probe launched.
Hugo Gernsback.
Deceleration recorded. General distress. MSV Hugo Gernsback. Registration BW461003.
Probe away.
Yeah, like I said, I don't even have the competency to judge poetry. The thing or two I can competently judge. Well, poetry is.
Launching probe.
I can judge music.
Launching
okay,
probe.
decently. There are other art forms I can decently judge. I can do story structure okay. We just talked about that quite a bit actually today in class.
Launching probe.
We talked about Shrek, of all things. The kind of the importance of the symbolic story structure you find in Shrek. It's
Probe away.
Series, which is actually quite a bit. It's brilliantly done for such a thought of as a dumb satire.
Probe away.
It is the symbolic language that it uses. Pieces of symbolism it's together. Or again, absolutely.
Launching probe.
There we go.
Probe launched.
WizKid says, I can get all poetical at times with my speech patterns. I know where it comes from, but I enjoy surprising people with a zinger like that every once in a while. Also, WizKid asked if I recorded that lecture. It could be fun. It was a good time. It was a discussion. And as much as I would kind of like to, recording discussions, like classroom discussions, does not go as well as recording like, straightforward lectures. Primarily just because I'm not the only speaker, and it's a really back and forth sort of thing, so the discussion winds up.
Element 0 is used for bioamp and omni-tool upgrades, which allow squad members who have biotic and tech powers to be much more effective.
Thank you, Edie. I did not, unfortunately. Again, I can talk about some of the stuff that we talked about, because again, some of my students also brought up some really good points as well. I don't know if any of you guys are listening. If you are, feel free to talk. I have more viewers than usual tonight, so it could be some of you guys discovered that I do gaming streaming, so that's neat. Currently, most of my audience is former students and my internet shitposting friends. So current students do not have much of a tendency to follow me with too much regularity. But if you guys are here, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Hello. Good evening. glad to have you join us if you are joining us. I've done that before. So WizKid points out I'd have to get students' consent to upload it and record, and it's a mess to do properly. Typically how I do that, and I've done it in the past, is I will ask upfrontly in class when I start recording if anyone has any objections to me recording and sharing those. That does it in terms of legal, legal reasons. And what I'll do otherwise is that covers it legally, but again, I want to be extra sure and make sure that it doesn't, get in the way of the teaching and actually get in the way of the discussions and all that sort of thing. What I'll typically do is I'll ask if I'm thinking about recording a lecture for a class or in a classroom, I'll ask in advance a while so students can contact me privately if they wouldn't want to either be recorded or whatever the case might be. So they don't have to come out class and say, hey, I'd rather you not. That can be embarrassing, and not everybody wants to do that, but also not everybody's comfortable with it, so I kind of want to balance those things. Like I said, it covers it for legal reasons, but that's not always a standpoint. In any case, I've done it plenty of times before. I've recorded my own classes in a few cases. There are quite a few of them on this channel. A lot of my course on the Republic are from a few different versions of that class that I've taught in the past. A lot of my philosophy of religion classes lectures have been actually. Okay, yeah. No, let's go with the armor instead of the black leather. Well, I don't know. This mission, it almost seems appropriate. Yeah, why the hell not? Anyway, definitely Miranda and Jacob, because those two are old partners. Hopeful. That'll make some good story sense. Operative E. Wealth and weapon. Now let's wait for barrier. Barrier. I got service leader. Shepherd. And that'll do it. But yeah, it's actually it's not too terribly much trouble. I know, though, I will say there are gradually developing more problems with recording classroom stuff. And it's because it's becoming more common. Now with, Zoom classes and all that, especially when it's Zoom, when it's other programs, it's a little less common, but especially when it's Zoom has a default recording feature. It makes it very easy to record and share classes.
I have run a scan of the ship.
Which by itself is very convenient.
Signs, but there may
the trouble, though, is that which setup. Switch.
On it.
Hey, cool. Anyway, it makes it feasible. It makes it practically quite easy to set up recordings, right? The trouble is,
there it is, and mostly intact.
That leads to all sorts of problems with the city and whatnot, where a lot of, I'll go ahead and say that a lot of professors do not want their classes recorded. In a lot of cases, for nefarious reasons. That's not universal, obviously. There are a lot of professors who prefer the sort of back room closed door style lecture, so they don't have to worry about somebody sharing what they had to say if it's something controversial. Or by controversial, I often mean objectionable. Also, right, so universities can have problems with it because it shares information freely, where the university literally profits from having that information kind of held tightly.
Along with this anymore. We've done horrible things to the crew. The conditions they're in, they don't understand what we're doing to them. Distract them for 2 seconds and they forget what you did before the bruises show. It's got to stop. I'm talking to the others as soon as
Last Fun Zeet says, internet shitposting friend here. Question for the professor. My brother thinks that the Marxist indoctrination in universities is a conspiracy theory. Not a question, but... question. Here we go. There it is. Didn't appear yet. What have you experienced regarding that kind of thing at your university and others? It exists. Indoctrination, maybe, maybe not. But certainly professors teaching from a Marxist perspective. Right? That is without a doubt. And again, maybe it's not explicit or outright indoctrination, even in most cases. It probably is in some. But in a great many cases, maybe even the majority of cases, a lot of professors, especially in the humanities, but it's kind of spreading as well. History's kind of bad about this. So I hate to malign my own discipline, but philosophy makes this kind of has an issue with this as well. But a lot of academics tend to be of those schools of thought, right? Whether it's Marxist per se, or if it's one of the various offshoots, children of sort of post-Marxist or post-Marxian schools of thought within sort of critical theory, within post-structuralism, any of those schools of thought which kind of spread out from Marxism, but are not Marxism per se. All of these have a lot of the same sort of basic core assumptions that a lot of professors will share. And because they have these basic assumptions, they will teach from that perspective. So maybe, probably not usually malicious or, an intent to indoctrinate. It's more like they don't see the water that they are swimming in. That it's just sort of passed on unthinking. Last one says, I consider all critical theories to be Marxism for all practical purposes. They're similar enough. There are differences enough to make it to draw the line. But critical theories are sort of a reapplication of some Marxist assumptions to different areas, different ways of thinking. It's not unreasonable, especially from a sort of from a, I guess, an outside view, right? If you're not within the discussion, it usually doesn't matter. They look similar enough from the outside. If you are talking to one or the other, and especially if they're talking to each other, it makes sense for them to delineate the differences, because there are differences enough. WizKid says, I get how conflict theory could be useful in some circumstances, but to be honest, I think many people don't care to apply it with the proper nuance, and it leads to dangerous of different frames of mind. There we go, frames of mind getting positive support. Conflict theory. Do you mean critical theory? Conflict theory typically carries a different connotation in academia, but I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. Conflict theory typically, in my context at least, in the context I know about it, in kind of post-Enlightenment history, post-Enlightenment philosophical development, is about the hypothesis of conflict between science and religion. That's kind of conflict theory, or the conflict hypothesis. That's the one I'm most familiar with, but I'm assuming that's not what you're talking about. Klaus, for example, I have a lot of colleagues who can't go a day without talking about late capitalism. Things like that. It's just sort of implicit in the assumptions and the terms used in the way of thinking. So I don't know if it's, in most cases, it's probably not intentional indoctrination. I don't think it's a conspiracy. Right? So again, I'm really skeptical of conspiracy theories because I'm really skeptical of people's ability to coordinate to that extent, especially surreptitiously. But I'm not skeptical at all of coincidences. Coincidences like that happen all the time, and it's because they have coinciding causes. There's a reason that various schools of Marxism are so common in academia. It's because they have roughly the same source, which is academia, which sort of shifts in one direction or the other based on common trends, and one of those common trends in the 20th century was the various schools of Marxist thought. Wiskett says conflict theory is basically basically the basis for all critical theory. At least so far as I'm concerned, too much emphasis on conflict and power disparity as being the only basis for societal interactions. Speaking primarily of conflict theory from a sociological perspective. Okay, so like Foucault sort of thing. Post-structuralism, like structures of power, the sort of Marxian who-whom question, that kind of thing. Yeah, synchronicity is, yes, Wiskett, synchronicity is the term. Yeah, so I'm most, in terms of conflict theory in that sense, I'm most familiar with it from Foucault, which I've done a good amount of reading, both from and about Foucault, who talks about that sort of thing. So let's see what this is, if that, so you can.
What was her name? Sarah? Suzanne? My God, I can't remember her face. We need to get out, so I can remember, can think straight. They have to hurry.
So troubling things are happening here. WizKid also said a little bit ago, information should be shared, and it should be as free as it possibly could be. End of story. Yeah, I agree. Reasons of.
She always said no. She even threatened to report if I didn't stop sending messages. But now she's so innocent. They all are. And that look she gives when she smiles. It's sure easier now. What's the harm? We're stuck here.
Yeah, that's ominous. We'll find out how ominous. So WizKid says, yes, exactly the idea that all that exists is power, and those who have it and those who don't have it, it can be useful, but overuse leads to an oversimplified view of and how we interact with one another. Yeah, I think there is a useful class analysis, which is Rothbardian class analysis, which is those who have political authority and those who do not have political authority. Essentially, it sort of reflavors the Marxist critique as, instead of an economic critique or what critical theorists do and turns into a identitarian critique, it's a state versus non-state critique, which I think is actually quite useful because it's quite demonstrable. It's very straightforward. But yeah, I do think that information should be absolutely shared freely, sort of thing.
You can't expect the luxury of due process, but this isn't a military ship. Just bumping the command line up a notch doesn't work. Captain Fairchild knew this crew. His replacement doesn't command the same level of respect. I'm hoping the man has it in him.
Okay. Sketchy. Yeah, I do want to say though that on that note, there's a decently long tradition in Christianity, and also you'll find some segment of Judaism as well, which holds, and you can look at this sort of through a modern economic analysis, right, as well, that information is a non-scarce good. It is infinitely replicable and freely shareable.
Local flora chemically
and so
incompatible with human physiology. Override.
And so refusing to share information is akin to hoarding unnecessarily. Again, information can be freely shared. You can charge for teaching, but you're charging for your expertise, your service, and you're charging for the facilities, right, the costs, not for the information. Right? Charging for information has long been seen as, for lack of a better term, anathema. And again, this is why, this is also kind of behind my critique
Local flora chemically incompatible with human physiology.
Liskett says, ever since I learned about it, I can't stop thinking
Pause
about
time,
how
8
we are
years,
entering
237 days, 7
and how that
hours.
period is characterized by a glorification of victimhood and slave mentality. Again, I'm a little bit also skeptical about the whole slave mentality thing because
danger of rapid neural decay.
Nietzsche is just kind
Local
of
flora chemically
doing a weird little
incompatible with
inversion
human
thing of
physiology.
Christianity to
Override.
critique
From the look of it, this beacon's been here a while.
it. Semi-fails.
Why would they wait
I
years
don't know.
to signal?
Pause in beacon protocol. 8 years, 237 days, 7 hours. Pause is recorded as record deleted by acting captain Ronald Taylor.
That's not right. My father was first officer.
Ronald Taylor was promoted under emergency command protocols. Other flagged issues: unsafe deceleration, local food and neural decay, beacon activation protocols.
Okay. Victim morality. Yeah, how Nietzsche described it. Yeah, victim morality, or slave morality. Slave morality. So that's Nietzsche just used that term to describe Christian ethics, more or less. He used it as a kind of a critical term. He used it to critique Christian ethics, but it still was a more or less Christian ethical system. The problem with the sort of victim mentality and lauding of victims is not that we laud victims. It's that it's an inversion, right? We laud victims for their victimhood rather than standing by them against the oppressor. I mean, it's a kind of inversion of where the praise and where the status goes. That makes sense. Jonathan Peugeot has said a lot about this, and quite brilliantly. So has David Gornowski. He's a sort of political commentator and a scholar of René Girard, and he said a lot about the kind of inversion inherent in the victim. See if I can find something to put in the description for. But that's David Gornowski. His sort of radio show and podcast is called A Neighbor's Choice. Really good. I highly recommend it. He does a lot of interviews and stuff. Some of which are good. Some of which are really niche. But most of them are actually good. I tend to prefer his more philosophical stuff because he's a really pretty accomplished expert in Gerard. Also did an interview with David Bentley Hart that made me lose most of my respect for him.
Who is in command of this ship? Where are the survivors?
Captain Harris Fairchild reported killed following unscheduled suborbital descent. First Officer Ronald Taylor promoted in-field to acting captain.
But where is he now?
The location of the remaining crew of the Hugo Gernsback is unknown. This beacon has been unattended for several maintenance cycles.
Okay.
Why wasn't the beacon activated before now?
This emergency beacon became functional after 358 days, 12 hours. Following the unscheduled suborbital descent of the Hugo Gernsback, activation was triggered remotely after 8 years, 237 days, 7 hours, on the authority of acting captain Ronald Taylor. Pause in beacon protocol is recorded as record deleted.
Well, that's sketchy. So he didn't send out the distress beacon for 8 years, despite the distress beacon functioning properly. Gonna probably have to find out why. And again, this is in keeping with a lot of the themes of what I wind up talking about in streams. So sit tight. WizKid says not necessarily. He used it to describe those who claimed that their psychological weakness stemmed from strength. Basically people who justify their own weakness by virtue. Yes, but for Nietzsche, that's what Christian ethics is. So he's using that to describe Christian ethics, even if he's doing so incorrectly. That's his intent. That's what he's trying to describe. He's trying to describe Christian ethics, except he's psychologizing it in this way. And an actual version of this that sort of really develops out of a kind of secular humanism that turns into this sort of thing. That is, or kind of secular altruism, if you want. It develops into basically what Nietzsche accused Christianity of being, is because of this sort of post-Christian framework that we have in the secular West. We have the framework of Christianity we have the content of. We have the framework of Christianity without the content. So we have this basic framework, but we need to fill it in with something, and so we fill it with, well, a criticism of Christianity in some cases. Or we fill it with critical theory, or whatever else.
I assume unsafe deceleration refers to the crash. Give me the details.
Following an unspecified impact and sublight drive failure, the Hugo Gernsback made an unscheduled descent at 465% of theoretical recommended suborbital velocity. The Hugo Gernsback then decelerated at 782% of theoretical recommended approach velocity, sustaining significant damage to investment and crew.
Why are you comparing the crash to theoretical speeds?
The Hugo Gernsback was constructed off-world. It is not rated for suborbital descent, and doing so exceeded operational parameters.
Not meant to land. Crash landed. That's good. WizKid says, I'll have to reevaluate it. I think Jordan Peterson pointed out that people misunderstand him a lot on that front, but admittedly have not yet read Old Frederick yet. Yeah, I read Nietzsche as primarily a critique of the Christianity of his time, more than anything else. And to that end, reading Nietzsche as like a first-year philosophy student, like so many philosophers are training students to do, is a horrible mistake. In order to read Nietzsche properly and to actually understand what he's critiquing, you have to understand the things that he's critiquing, whether that's Christianity, whether that is Plato, whether that is Aristotle, whether that is the Lutheran Church of the 18th and 19th centuries, right? All of the stuff that he's critiquing, you have to understand it in order to know it's critiquing context. That is, it's like, it pains me to use this example, but it's like The Last Jedi being your first Star Wars movie. You can't do that, because it's deconstruction. You have to know what it's deconstructing to understand the deconstruction. The same would apply, I think, to Nietzsche. Which is why I do not in any good conscience teach Nietzsche to, especially not to like first year philosophy student, like intro. I hesitate even to teach Nietzsche extensively to undergrads. Again, you don't have the tools. Because he's very high level in that sense. He's not basic level stuff. He's relying on a very storied tradition because he's critiquing storied tradition.
Local food impairs brain functions? What are the effects?
Impairment of mental function due to chemical imbalance begins within 7 days of ingesting local flora, regardless of decontamination or preparation. Impact on higher cognitive abilities and long-term memory is cumulative, but significant within a standard month. It is not known if neural decay is permanent. Data collection was not completed.
Okay.
Come on, let's get going.
So to summarize,
had a working beacon but didn't signal for almost 9 years. Maybe that neural decay affected him.
Avoiding it for a decade seems unlikely.
Yeah, so to summarize, he didn't activate the beacon for 10 years. For 8 years,
You
I guess.
came from the sky? The leader said someone would come. He delayed for so long, but he still has power. Some have lost faith. The hunters. They will have seen your star. They will not let you help him.
What are you talking about? You're not making sense.
I don't remember how to say it. He's our leader and we serve so we can go home. But some want to fight him. They were cast out. He exiled them, so they hunt his machines and those who help him. They don't believe that rescue will...
Watch out!
Hunters, they won't stop until the leader is dead.
Kill them! Agents of the liar! He will not escape!
They see you, Shepard.
Yes, they are primitive.
Here we go.
Remember the neural decay thing? Remember that neural decay thing? We are about to see some effects of that.
Yes!
Just
One
wouldn't
left.
need further, huh?
Perfect!
There.
That wasn't neural decay. They were feral.
My father wouldn't let this
it
go
was-
on. Something
it was
is very wrong.
So they're talking. So the
You
food.
killed them, but there are more every day. They want to fight, but I just want to go home.
The
She's
local
lost.
food
We need to
causes
find
neural
someone who
decay.
can make sense of
Apparently,
this.
the local fauna, local flora and fauna cause neural decay, degenerative neural decay, and so they've been here for 8 years. So it seems pretty obvious what's going on, at least to an extent. Now there's, we have to speculate for right now as to why Jacob's father, Arnold Taylor, didn't signal the distress beacon 8 years ago.
Strip for parts. Tech's wearing out. Those hunters must be laying on the pressure.
Yeah. So we have to find out why exactly he didn't
Is that a settlement?
signal.
They better be friendlier than
Years
the
ago.
beach group. I need answers.
But it seems like instead they are building a cult, which is nice. It's great.
Field is clear.
Lol, Jacob's
They're
voice
clearly
acting
docile,
is getting shot.
but
Is
in the
just so
same
bad.
uniform
Yeah,
remnants as those who attacked us.
Also,
There aren't any men here. Maybe it affects genders differently. Makes males get violent.
Possibly. But the woman on the beach said the exiled ones came back as hunters.
It doesn't matter right now. One of these people must know what my father has to do with this.
You have his face. He promised to call the sky, but he sends nothing.
He forced us to eat, to decay. You are cursed with his face.
Not the best reaction to the family resemblance, Jacob.
Why would my father force his crew to eat toxic food? Whatever's happening here needs to stop.
He has a cruel face. His cruel face.
Look at these spoiled food stores. They've been eating only that toxic local food for who knows how long. Like that wasn't obvious enough.
Go away. You are like him. You will keep us here.
yeah, so that's disturbing and creepy.
What the hell? Somebody had to push them to make that. That's borderline worship.
Yeah.
He is bad. He has a bad face like the other. Like him. You'll hurt me.
Okay. Definitely sounds very, very culty. Oh, you're Captain of Band's obedience.
I'm right!
Oh, jeez, come on.
Your captain demands obedience. Weapons are forbidden. Requesting assistance. Have engaged.
Patrols like that are a
Got
little
him.
much against this bunch.
Well, that would make them hate him. But maybe it was just for defense.
Keep holding that hope, Jacob.
Please, here. You could end it. You have his face. But you fight his machines. You might stop this. This, I forget how to read. But this was the start. What he promised, and what they did to us. We need the sky. Take us back to the sky.
So yes, presumably he would be, eating them the toxic food to keep them alive, even if it is in a state of neural decay. But this seems a little bit strange and excessive, even. So let's see. Find more insight.
Jacob, what does it say?
It's a crew logbook. Some of them thought the beacon repair was taking too long. They were afraid they'd run out of supplies and lose their minds to the decay. My father restricted the ship food for himself and the other officers so they wouldn't be affected. Everybody else had to eat the toxic food and hope for treatment later. The rest is a casualty list. A few mutinied over the decision. My father and his officers turned the mechs on them.
Yeah, so again, this seems reasonable enough to start with. Harsh but defendable. He had to do what he had to do in this case. He did need to get the beacon repaired, but that doesn't explain why it took 8 years after getting it fixed to actually send a distress signal.
The beacon was fixed after a year, so the plan must have worked. Why no signal?
Those weren't the last entries on the casualty list. More incidents, harsh punishments. It's like they're cattle or toys. In a year, all the male crew members are flagged as exiled or dead. They separated out the women, assigned them to officers, like pets. And after the beacon is fixed, the officers appear in the casualties too. After. My father took control and didn't stop it.
So it's starting to come together. Yeah, he basically found himself with absolute power very suddenly. You know what that does to people? Very quickly, power corrupts, right, as you said. With harems. So it would seem.
Does it say why he separated the men and women? Or is it as bad as it seems?
No, it turns to gibberish. Maybe the men got violent early on, but from the state of this place, I'd say the Hunter thing is recent. What he allowed here, Shepard? I don't see any justification.
Anything in there about whether the effects of the toxic food can be treated?
Nothing. But it seems like the right call. If everyone gets it, who's left to fix the beacon? You'd never get out. But they did fix it. And the signal wasn't sent until now. I'm starting to see why.
We haven't seen any other officers. He killed them?
There were 5 after the crash. Medical, engineering, bridge staff. Should have had no problem fixing the beacon and keeping people safe. All killed within the same week. About a month after the beacon was repaired.
Ah, after the beacon was repaired. Because he was in power and wanted to maintain power in the... Pretty sure. That seems... I think.
Do you see an explanation for this? He's your father.
Is he? None of this fits. Maybe the initial decision, but the rest? Abuse of power doesn't get any clearer than this. I need to find this man.
Okay. Well, let's go. Alright, let's blow up a mech. Use a mech as an improvised explosive, one of my favorite things to do. Oop, let's get out of here. Nice. That was pleasant.
This is Captain Ronald Taylor. Thank God you're here. My crew went insane. I only just got free.
God damn it. It's really him. Just got free. He's covering his ass.
The old corpse has been posed, like a warning. The new ones were left where they fell.
The hunters started fighting back.
Okay. It's troubling.
Authorized for lethal force.
Hostile!
System failing.
Careful. I automated my defenses after the crew turned violent. They keep attacking. I had no choice.
He had plenty of choices. A little late to blame the victims.
Collision proximity warning. Impact event.
I got it!
Careful.
There we go!
System failing.
Okay. That's all those. Yeah, so he automated the mechs and said attack anybody who...
Systems overload attack.
Just attack anybody.
Have a nice trip!
Careful proximity warning.
Not a good
Make activity!
Forces have engaged. Impact imminent. Rerouting power.
Come on.
Backup systems engaged. Request assistance. Locate plan.
We can use this!
I got him.
Collision proximity warning. Impact event. Impact event. Impact imminent. Requesting assistance. System failing. Impact event. Allied force casualty.
Target down!
Allied force casualty.
Right.
Excuse me.
So yeah, basically we have a situation here where somebody is, again, given absolute power.
Keep them busy, distracted, but it's getting dangerous. Thank God you've come.
He had his fun, and now he wants out. Son of a bitch.
I think Jacob's right. Yeah, it seems like he got absolute power. Got to the point where he
Make activity.
Subdue and suppress.
Could do anything he wanted.
Hostile forces have engaged. Requesting assistance.
And then when he ran out of things to want, nice wholesome things to want, like getting people off the island. Planet, I guess, whatever.
Impact imminent. Careful. Rerouting power. Impact imminent. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Collision proximity warning. Collision proximity warning. Status failure.
It took years to train my guards. I'm afraid you'll have to fight them to rescue me.
Throwing people away. This thing is...
But going to. I'm gonna need this. But yeah, he basically, you're right. He ran out of good, nice things to want, and so instead he starts wanting not very nice, unwholesome, self-destructive, and other destructive kinds of things.
Here we go.
Again, it's exactly what. It's exactly Plato's view of the tyrant.
So we can go home.
Felt that one.
Access requested.
It's gonna blow.
Yeah. That is actually a fantastic parallel, WizKid. So WizKid says, emergency power is a hell of a drug. I would know living in Michigan in 2020. Yeah, that is an apt comparison, I think. I mean,
enough with the toys. I need to look my father in the eye.
Obviously,
here and justify
Whitmer
this.
hasn't gotten to this stage yet. And, God willing, she won't, and the other various power-mad governors won't. But eventually, given unchecked power, this is what develops. You see this anywhere throughout history where a ruler has either practically or literally unlimited power. See this especially often in Rome. Imperial Rome, we talk about the mad emperors and all that stuff. Talk about Tiberius and Caligula and Nero, all of them. A large part of what drove them to where they got to was absolute power and no one to question them. And when you get to a state like that, well, you're gonna wind up going crazy, going mad with power. Use the phrase mad with power. Because the tyrant, properly speaking, the tyrant is mad. Is insane.
You're here. I knew a real squad would blow through just fine.
Example.
Sorry if the mech scuffed your pads. I'll get you something nice when we get back to Alliance space. I've got to have some back pay coming.
What about your crew, acting captain?
Total loss. The toxic food turned them wild. They propped me up here in some kind of ritual behavior. Waiting for a chance to signal has been hell.
That's the best you can do?
You let all your people talk back like that? Who are you exactly?
WizKid says the worst thing is how she flip-flops. I'd respect her much better if she could just admit to wanting to keep us all cooped up, but she can't, and tries to justify it as good for us. Hate that. Yeah. What was it that C.S. Lewis said to this effect, right? That the worst of tyrannies is that which is exercised with the sincere best interest, or what they see as the best interest of their subjects. Something like that. Yeah, Andrea says they always want to make it out like they're always looking out for you. Yeah, pretty. Okay. And yeah, like C.S. Lewis pointed this out in a few different places. Probably most thoroughly and in his best style, in his fiction style, in That Hideous Strength, is, the third entry in the Space Trilogy, which is his shot at a dystopian novel, which is very good. It does this, it points this out so very well, and we can even see it here, right, with Jacob's father. Right? Captain Taylor here is at least started out doing what was best for his crew, but then that turned into absolute power, the ability to do anything he wanted, and he needed to keep that power. Palpatine also said the same thing. The only thing he had to fear was losing his power, right? Tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and all of that. It's all over. It's a really common theme in science fiction, but it's also a really common theme in reality. WizKid says, exactly, there's nothing worse than an overbearing parental figure treating you like a perpetual child. It's insulting. Again, symbolically, it's the Oedipal mother. It's the wanting so badly to protect one's charges that one smothers them. I'm reminded of, again, another video from Jonathan Maggio. I've been going through a lot of his stuff recently for preparation for class today. Because we were talking about Shrek. You're talking about Shrek, you gotta talk about Pajot. And I'm reminded of his analysis of the Babadook, which clearly features an Oedipal mother. And some other wacky symbolism. Andrea says it's very insulting. Dune has a similar thread running free. From what I remember, yeah. Again, like I said, it's a really, really common theme in science fiction. Brave New World is honestly another great example of this sort of thing, which is, a tyranny exercised for the good of its citizens and for everyone's happiness. Where you're not allowed not to be happy, basically. The Giver, another same kind of thing.
Commander Shepard of the Normandy. I believe you are acquainted with Mr. Taylor.
Taylor? Jacob? No, not Jacob.
Why not me? Would 10 years of this look better to anyone else in the galaxy?
You have to understand, this isn't me. The realities of command, they change you. I wasn't ready for that. I made sure you were taught right. Before I left, I hoped to leave it at that.
I'm not biting, Captain. At some point, you chose to do this to your crew. You.
What was that moment? I want to know that there was an actual reason.
There was resistance to the plan. Mutiny. We had to take a hard line to keep order. And things settled down. As the decay set in, we made sure the crew were comfortable. Some even seemed happier. Ignorance is bliss, right? And they were grateful for guidance, like an instinct. Pure authority was easy, at first. Months in, the effect lowered inhibitions. They got territorial. Rank, protocol, they couldn't understand. We had to establish dominance. After a while, the perks seemed normal.
That's it? You created a harem and played king? 10 years in a juvenile fantasy?
I can't point to where it all went wrong. But when the beacon was ready, revealing what happened didn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah, so, like they were all saying, right? It seemed good for everybody at first, and then the perks, man, the perks of absolute power over perfectly subservient subjects. Oh, yeah, of course. WizKid says, oh, you're right. Leave it up to the God Emperor. Brave New World is an excellent example of how the idea that everyone should be happy can be taken to a very dark place. Yeah, I still haven't seen the new adaptation with what's his name, Ehrenreich, the Han Solo kid, which looks really, really good. Here, let me start my list of things to put in the description because I got a lot now already. I got Pajot, Shrek, and the Babadook. Now, what I just mentioned, which their FEE, Foundation for Economic Education, did a great analysis of the new Brave New World adaptation, which apparently is really, really good, and I really look forward to seeing it. That's high on my list of things that I definitely need to see. But yeah, that's a great example of that sort of thing. So what about the time and food reserves? How did you stretch it this long?
The stores from the ship couldn't last forever. You had to know this would end one day.
Dining for one can really stretch things
that's
out.
what I was talking about.
Besides, I can think of a lot worse retirement plans than stripping down and joining the droolers. That was before the hunters, of course. Dumb or not, I'd feel it if they got their hands on me now. They want blood. I'd prefer to keep it.
It's all about you. Everything.
So what about those
What
hunters?
triggered the males to change and threaten you?
This planet has some strange cycles to it. I've seen some plants around I never saw before. Odd weather. Maybe some just adapted a little too well.
And if you treat them like animals, big shock. They become animals.
What happened to the other officers?
Anders found his conscience a little late to step back. He had an accident. Things got tense. End of the day, I was the one with the mechs. I got a little basic in setting examples. But I was kind to my people once things settled down. Seemed like I'd earned some peace.
You fought over people like they were toys. Things.
Yeah, and again, it's another... the things we've talked about really tie together well, right? So again, this is another example, just like before, of dehumanizing or depersonalizing people, treating people like objects and interacting with people as if they're objects, and putting people into a condition or a situation where they can be treated like objects. Just like Miranda and her sister, it's like Shepard as she died. As we'll see, just like Thane also has this sort of depersonalization thing that starts going on at some point. Neat. Disturbing, but neat. Again, like I said, it's a big theme of this game. WizKid says, it's easy to objectify people, Jacob. All too easy, even without absolute power. Yeah, it's very true. Especially if you have power over them, but not even necessarily, right? An example I like using is objectification of people either when they are anonymized, right? Either through the internet, on the road, right? So other people driving other cars around you. They're not people, they're cars, right? Today on the way home, there was a guy that I wanted to go around somebody, so I go into the left lane and pass, and a guy comes up behind me, blinking his high beams at me because he's going like 90 and a 70, and I'm only going 80. So he's blinking his high beams at me, like coming up on me fast. So I floor it, driving an old car. When I floor it, when I'm already going 80, so I don't get rear-ended by the guy, I blow smoke in his face. That was fun. So eventually I move over and he zips around me and flips me off behind him, which is not the kind of thing that a human being would do to another human being face to face. And not just out of kind of fear of retaliation. It's just because we have an empathic connection with another person if we can experience them as another person. WizKid says, yeah, porn also does this to the same horrifying degree. Yeah, absolutely. You're not seeing a person, you're seeing a body. Just like on the road, you're not seeing a person, you're seeing a car. The driver of the car disappears. On the internet, you're seeing a picture and a username, you're not seeing a person behind the keyboard, right? Even though there is one. Here, they're irrelevant. And I would go so far as to say, you're wearing a mask, you're just that much less personified the people around you. This is in large part why I see this as a kind of long-term threat to social cohesion, and we're incapable of, not necessarily when we're incapable, but when it's more difficult for us to see and empathize with other people. Yes, Erica described what happened quite aptly there. But yes, when you can't see people clearly as persons, right? With the face thing, with a face covering, so to speak, it's easy to depersonalize. Natural to depersonalize, and that's dangerous. WizKid says empathy is a funny thing. Too much of it in you're a weirdo. Too little, you're a psychopath. Yeah, I mean, just like any other virtue in the middle of excess and deficiency. Andrea says exactly. Masks hide us and make lesser. Yeah, I know what you mean, right? It's puts up a barrier between me and you when we're interacting like human beings. We can't quite do that. If it's setting aside the practical standpoint. Yeah, Erica described it better than I could as far as the car goes, which her car named Indri. Dude, you can't put the pedal to the metal with Indri. He throws a fit and farts a big cloud of black smoke. His poor engine. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Indri's an old man car. You can't abuse him. Listen. It was that or have some psycho, presumably psycho, because he was clearly angry and he looked oldish, so he might have been for saying this term. A boomer. A very angry boomer with a prominent middle finger. But it was that or get rear-ended, apparently. So, piss the guy off, apparently. Andrea, this is a very good point. Now, I'll talk about I'm going to continue the conversation a little bit, but to your point, it says, Andrea says, it's worse that it's become virtuous to hide and stay away from each other. Yeah. I've put it jokingly as the introverts have taken over society and destroyed it. But, I mean, it's tongue-in-cheek because it's not introversion per se, but I do see a lot of my introverts friends who are who initially at least were celebrating not having to interact with people. But I do want to address that as well, especially in the context of genuine community that, colleges try to promote. The counterproductiveness of all of the procedures and restrictions and stuff.
You didn't feel any responsibility to get out of here for the sake of family?
I gave him a good start. He was a smart kid and was better off not following me. We figured that out a long time before I took jobs in deep space. And after things escalated here, it seemed best to just disappear off the galactic map.
Till you needed someone to save your ass.
We can help these people. Cerberus can have ships here in days and pull everyone out.
He's not worth the fuel to haul him out or the air he's breathing. He's damn lucky I don't think he's even worth pulling the trigger. I don't know who you are, because you're not any father I remember.
We'll secure him for an Alliance court. For every year here, he'll have 10 to think about it.
Give him all the time in the galaxy. The man who did this doesn't know right from wrong.
I'm sorry, Jacob. I did the best I could.
I'm 10 years past believing that.
That was rough. I told you this was a dark one. I did say that from the outset. So. WizKid says exactly. You're a bad person, wah. If you deign to go out in public and live life and not be afraid, it's callous and cruel, not to mention cowardly. Yeah, it's kind of ironic that each side calls the other selfish. And each side sees the other as selfish, to an extent, right? We all know the rhetoric for the pro-mask side of, you're selfishly killing grandma, yada, 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 the whole thing. We all know the rhetoric, it's everywhere. I don't really need to go into it. But on the other side, right, it's clear that, you can make an argument the other direction and saying that people who are promoting the wearing of masks and all that are putting their own fear of their own lives over the flourishing of other people, especially of young people. Oh, hi, Kylie. Welcome back. Jacob met his father, who turned into a cult leader and controlled a harem of mentally disabled people that he put into a subservient position because he was stranded on a planet but wasn't actually stranded. He probably could have called for help like 8 years ago, but didn't, because he wanted to maintain his horrifying way of life. Power corrupts, you know. That's kind of what led to the rest of the discussion here. Corrupting influence of power. Oh, hey, I could have just done. There you go. Yeah, Erica says, and is 100% right about this. He basically turned into a Roman emperor. Yeah. If you guys want, I can read us some Suetonius about Tiberius and his minnows. I don't know how well Susan will like that appearing on YouTube, but it's really rather it's educational. Yeah. Oh my god. WizKid says, my grandma died from a bump on her head. And because of this fucking virtue signaling, I wasn't able to be there for her when she passed. And I'll never forgive them for that. It's absolutely repugnant. I couldn't agree more. I've mentioned that I almost missed the birth of my son. Because I had to wait and you know, I couldn't come in. Yeah, I might get my stream taken if I start talking about minnows. Especially if I'm quoting directly from Suetonius. I'll just say, if you're looking, it is Suetonius, The 12 Caesars. There you go. This book. If you're looking at this version of it, you're going to want to look to page 126, which is partway through the chapter on Tiberius. Paragraphs 43 and 44 of the section on Tiberius. Here you go. There's my citation. I'll just write down that so I can put the citation for it, not the text. I'm not putting the text for it in the description, but I'll put the citation. So if you're looking for an example of, yeah, it's not just people today who are morally repugnant due to absolute power, but yeah, though with Cuties being released in that new law in California, maybe it's acceptable material now. Yeah, no, it's no big deal. No, it's a social norm now. It's just. How can you justify that, you know? WizKid says, I knew she was on the way out, but I've always assumed I'd be in the room when it happened. I hate how tone-deaf these people are and arrogant. Again, I couldn't agree. It's a prioritization of survival over living. And it's a fear of death. It is an excessive fear of death that is all too common in the sort of modern secular mind. We've forgotten that we're all going to die.
Alliance ships are inbound to secure Captain Taylor and his crew, Commander. We'll be long gone by the time they get here.
Don't even give them the tail lights.
Roger that.
What do you mean it wasn't you?
Jacob, if I had leaked the information about the Gernsback, I would be smiling at your resolution of the situation. I am not smiling.
Love that. That's classy. Very classy way of handling.
Nothing goes through this ship, my ship, without a report to you.
I had no more reason to believe Jacob's father was alive than he did, but I'm happy to know the situation is behind you.
Fine. You didn't forward it, so who did?
I did.
Was it supposed to be a favor, or did you just want to see him squirm?
What he did with it was his own business. There was a time when it mattered to you. Sending this along seemed like keeping an old promise. I keep my promises.
Miranda, we'll discuss your liberal interpretation of security protocol in private. Shepard, Jacob.
There's definitely some bad blood or history between these two. Yeah, WizKid says you're right. These people fear death so much they don't know how to live anymore, and some of them, the overly introverted, never wanted to begin with. Maybe. I don't want to presume that introverts don't want to live. Want to do things. They do. It's just they don't want to do things with excessive amounts of people around them, which is fine. It's just now this has gotten so out of hand that it's preventing everything and not just gathering people. So, yeah, the introverts thing is mostly a joke, just because of initial reactions from my introverts. No, I think it goes way deeper than that into just again the impulse to control. It's the big part. It's the same thing as, like, if I'm smoking on campus, at USF at least, I will inevitably have someone come into my cloud of smoke to tell me to stop. Similarly, if I'm sitting well away from everyone and anyone without wearing a mask, I will inevitably have somebody approach me within spitting distance, so to speak, to tell me I should put a mask on. It's clearly not about safety or sanitation or anything. It is about posing on somebody. And now I've figured out the trick, because if I have a bag of nuts open in front of me, then they have to apologize because I'm... WizKid says, not all introverts, but enough of them. People who are more exclusionary and power hungry than... yeah, so again, introversion tends to coincide with this sort of thing just because of the kind of thing that's being imposed, but it's not introversion per se. Changing back subjects a little bit to, Roman emperors and disturbingness. Riley says, how was the cuties thing even out and aired? It's blatantly wrong. People in power don't think of it that way. A lot of people in power just kind of think that way anyway, and it's not that weird to them. It won an award at Sundance. More about Sundance than anything else. Yeah, I have found that the cuties thing makes a great shibboleth. You can tell a lot about somebody by how they react to it. If they react like a normal human being, that it's horrifying and disgusting, you know that is a normal human being. If they try and defend it in some way, then run. WizKid says, really? I've not been wearing my mask at work for like 2 weeks now. Who cares? Or at least nobody gets outwardly angry with it. Depends where you are. That's how I am at St. Leo, because it's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's urban versus rural. That same thing I constantly yell about on my streams. USF is in the heart of Urbia. It tries very hard to be urban, culturally, architecturally, everything. And so, people are gonna be thinking in an urban manner. I actually talked to my class about this today, and they were shocked to realize that this is in fact the case, right? It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural difference. It's full of, moral busybodies and such.
You had no idea Miranda was behind this.
No, she's got a good memory. Selective, but good. I haven't thought about those days in a long time. Can't figure which promise she meant, though. Not sure I really want to know. She requires a better man than I.
So they were neat. Yeah, Erica says, hey now, I'm that kind of introverted. I usually force myself to talk to people until I get too tired of them. Get too tired, not tired of them, sorry. And then still push forward because life doesn't care about delicate sensitivities. WizKid responds, see, and that's fair. You make an effort, mostly you just want people to not. I understand that. I'm talking about people who will revel when someone else's social activities are imposed on. There's a big difference there. It's the difference between, living one's own life like one lives it, which is kind of the attitude of the sort of marginal or rural attitude, and wanting one's own sensibilities imposed outwards, which is the centralizing. Andrea says, yep, control is. I have asthma and... Splinter? I'll have to fix that eventually. Fine, just watch it. I have asthma and can't wear one. The The amount of people who give me dirty, scared looks is amazing. I prefer rural living for the cultural difference. Yeah, control is the goal of power. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's really a cultural difference. It really is. And I've said this tons of times in tons of scenarios. Check out my, I have a clip that I pulled from one of my streams, from one of my Red Dead streams, called something like Arthur Morgan Wears a Mask. That I really try very hard to explain why there's such a cultural difference and what I see as with the kind of imposition of mask wearing. This is going to drive me nuts. I might have to do something about it, and for which I will turn off the camera. Probably fine.
You good with this, Jacob?
It's all bull, Shepard. Captain Taylor can rot in prison. Doesn't change who I am or what I know. I've already mourned the man he used to be. I guess he was a good enough father that even he can't screw up what he taught me.
Yeah, WizKid says living in a small town has its own, has its own fun social issues. But I much prefer it to suburbia or urban slog. I don't know if we're not really in a small town. We're just kind of out in the middle. WizKid also says, I don't suffer fools lightly. There are plenty of them.
Come on, we got work to do.
Aye, Commander. Shepard. Thanks for the help.
Anytime, Jacob.
Yeah. Alright, sweet. Let's go research some stuff and then head on forward. The elusive man is going to want to talk to us, and then we're going to go do a mission. Definitely. Armor penetrate. Still hangs. Machine gun damage. I need more iridium. I'm going to have to do some mine stream at some point. Keep saying that. Keep forgetting. Soon. Energy capacity. There we go. Not yet. Oh no, Erica! It's not a fly this time. I think I have a splinter. Thank you for the offer, though. That's very good. I certainly enjoy the electric fly swatter.
The elusive man wishes to speak to you in the debriefing room, Commander. I bumped into Zaid recently. Quite the character. Given how much violence and destruction that man's seen, he's surprisingly well adjusted. Still, I wouldn't want to be alone with them. Anyway, what's up?
Is there anything I should know?
You have unread messages at your private terminal.
Okay.
Samara would like to see you in observation on the crew deck.
Okay.
Anything else, Commander?
That'll do it.
That'll be all.
It's always nice chatting with you.
Yeah, alright. Really. Miss her in 3. Samantha Trainer is cool. I like her. I like her as well, but still kind of miss Kelly. Messages. Guardian Angels from Oriana. Oriana Lawson. I hope this is the right Commander Shepard. I'm Oriana. My sister told me a little, but I don't think it occurred to her that I'm as smart as she is. I poked around a little and found an information broker who got me this address. I got to thank her, but I never got to thank you for helping me. My parents don't really understand it, but I know how much Miranda did. How many little things over the years were her looking out for me. I'm not going to tell them. I still want to go to school and get some degrees, but I wanted you to know that I know saved me. I had a guardian angel all these years. I don't know if my sister has anybody. She said she's working for you, and it was pretty clear you were doing something dangerous. Make sure she comes back alive, okay? Oriana. P.S. Don't tell her I sent you this. It would just make her angry. P.P.S. Miranda, quit looking at Shepard's messages. Oh, don't act like you don't. It's what I'd do. These two are great. I actually I like Oriana. From what little you get of her, she's great. She's like Miranda, but well-adjusted. Alright, let's go talk to Samara real quick and then go on our mission. Yeah, like I said, I like Oriana. Like I said, she's like Miranda, but well-adjusted.
I am glad you came.
Hello.
I must ask for your help. That is not easy for me.
It's all right. Just tell me what you need.
Information broker.
When
Yes.
we met on
Yes,
Ilium,
Erica, that's
I
probably
told you about a very dangerous person I was pursuing. Using the information you obtained, I have located her. She's been going by the name Morinth. I would like to apprehend her before she disappears again.
Didn't you say you'd pick up her trail after our mission?
I know where she is, right now. In a month, she may be gone. This is the best opportunity I've ever had.
How important is this?
Killing her has been my focus for 400 years. It is the most important thing in my life, and the reason I became a Justicar.
Where is she?
Omega, a nightclub called Afterlife, which seems a perfect place for her to hunt.
Tell me about her.
She is an Ardat Yakshi. It is a term from a dead Asari dialect. It means demon of the night winds, but that is mythology. She is simply a very dangerous woman who kills without mercy.
So is an Ardat Yakshi a special kind of murderer?
Morinth suffers a rare genetic disorder. When she mates with you, there is no gentle melding of nervous systems. She overpowers yours, burns it out, hemorrhages your brain. You end up a mindless shell, and soon after, you are dead.
Neat. Death by Snoo Snoo. Yeah, this is one of those really neat things that that comes up later having to do with Asari biology.
Why isn't this ever mentioned in Asari literature or
Yes,
art?
she's a succubus.
When we were primitive, there was much fascination with Ardat Yakshi. Some cultures worshipped them as gods of destruction. Now the Asari have a place in the galaxy, and they don't wish this defect to be widely known. As far as I know, only 3 exist today. 2 chose a life of seclusion.
They retcon that.
The 3rd ran.
Morinth.
She ran, and I am sworn to kill her.
Yeah, so they retcon that really hard in the 3rd game. That it's way more than 3. Way more than. We'll talk about the retcon when we get to that in 3, but talk about the changes. But they wanted it to be a little bit of a bigger threat, I guess. But for now, yes, she's a succubus. She seduces you to death. Now, this is a funny little side story. I've mentioned my Mass Effect tabletop that we ran a while ago. And I mentioned that I basically brought in the world of Dragon Age as a planet that our players encountered. And if you look at Dragon Age and you look at Mass Effect, you notice some design similarities. Obviously, same company making, same studio. One of these similarities, these striking similarities, I think, is the similarity between the Asari from Mass Effect and the Desire Demons in Dragon Age. So basically, we had we took on a traveler from Thetis, the world of Dragon Age, onto our ship, who immediately thought that the Asari on the ship was a demon. And Ardat Yakshi kind of are, or demonic-ish at least. Of course, it is a genetic abnormality. Certainly a kind of compulsion to kill.
I don't know that I blame her for running.
When she fled, she proved her addiction. She was not taking a great moral stand. She simply wants to keep killing. She is a tragic figure, but not a sympathetic one.
That is a great distinction.
Can't she abstain?
Each encounter gives her strength. The effect is narcotic. The more she does it, the more she needs to do it. She will never stop. She can't.
Marcus says, note to self, add succubi to our Friday game, target Emrys. Emrys is WizKid's character, by the way. He already has a fear of feathered women. Do we need to add succubi? I mean, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Help me, kitty cat. Kitty cats here refers to a couple of Tabaxi NPCs that I'm game.
So you hunt down these Asari just because they're born with a genetic condition?
It manifests with maturity.
When one is diagnosed, she is offered the chance to live in seclusion and comfort. If she refuses, it shows her addiction to the ecstasy she gets from killing her mates. There is no redemption for such a person.
They have to choose between prison and death.
It is an addictive condition. Remember how adaptive we are. If Morinth does not want to be cured, she won't be.
This is definitely worthy of your full attention.
She confuses her victims, twists their feelings. They will do anything for her favor.
We need to stop her.
Thank you, Commander. There are no words to express what this means to me. There is one thing more. This creature, this monster. She is my daughter.
Ouch. Really hitting home runs with the family stuff this time.
You said this is genetic. How many children do you have?
3. And 3 Ardat Yakshi are in existence today. It is as it sounds. Morinth was always the wild one. She was happy and free, but selfish.
I cannot imagine what this is like for you.
I do not want pity, Shepard. I do not accept it. My daughter's condition is my fault, and my redemption lies in killing her. Do not pity me. Simply understand my situation.
Yeah, WizKid says, in addition to being a succubus, she's also a sex addict. That's just awesome. Also, what? Yes. I told you. A lot of family drama in this episode, apparently. To clarify, Samara is not an Ardat Yakshi. Ardat Yakshi are sterile because they kill their mates. So no, it is. Also, we find out later, Ardat Yakshi is a genetic disorder that only appears in Asari purebloods, the children of 2 Asari. And it's basically a rough equivalent for genetic purposes. It's a rough equivalent to children of incest having various genetic abnormalities and deformities. This is the Asari one. It's just a lot more destructive than chromosomal disorders in humans.
How did all this happen?
I spent my youth on the move, adventuring. I killed people, mated with them, or just danced the night away. I learned so much, experienced so much, and then my matron days came. I could finally sit back, bask, and enjoy my family. But in one moment, it was all taken away.
It sounds terrible.
I sat in a med lab while a nearsighted doctor droned at me, and I learned that nothing was as I thought it would be. I gave up all that I possessed. I own nothing, claim nothing. All my knowledge will die with me. Now my purpose is to destroy my own children.
Ouch.
Those moments change you.
And I've hundreds of years left to live with that. I say too much. Forgive me. Help me find my long-lost daughter. And kill her.
We'll go find Morinth.
Yes, Andrea. She is a Stoic. The code bears a lot of similarities to Stoicism. I will say, something akin to Stoicism, at least, is roughly the only way of dealing with a situation. This is obviously incredibly
the elusive man
traumatic.
wishes to speak to you in the debriefing room,
for
Commander.
Samara. It's terrible. It's terrible that she has to live with this sort of thing. But it's understandable how she managed it. So, you do, by the way, wind up meeting her other 2 daughters in Mass Effect 3. Their fate is somewhat different. You do not, have to kill them. I'll let you know that. I won't spoil much more about it if you haven't seen it, if you're not familiar with it, but it is another really heavy mission. It's a good one. WizKid says, no kidding, any other way of coping would lead to suicide and despair. Yeah, it could. Maybe there are other ways that, but I think Stoicism is really a good way of dealing with terrible.
Patching the elusive mentor, Commander.
Or at least some version of Stoicism. Or Stoic elements added to other philosophies and theories. There are, Christian Stoicisms. There are modern cognitive behavioral therapy.
We got
that
a
sort of
break. I intercepted a distress call from a Turian patrol. They stumbled onto a collector ship beyond the Corliss system. The Turians were wiped out, but not before they crippled the collector vessel. I need you to board that ship and get some hard data on the collectors. Find us a way to get to their homeworld.
Hard to imagine how a Turian patrol could take out a collector's ship.
Reports indicate the hull's intact, but all systems seem to be offline. They could be making repairs as we speak. I'm not saying it won't be dangerous, but we can't let an opportunity like this slip by.
Okay.
If they had a patrol out there, why aren't the Turians sending a recon team in?
They will, eventually. But I intercepted the transmissions. In the meantime, we're feeding them false reports. You're close enough that you can be in and out before the Turians learn the truth.
Yeah, WizKid says stoicism is easily one of the more psychologically healthy methods of coping with trauma. Yeah, absolutely. Now, there are also a lot of people who are skeptical of stoicism in general, and of especially of modern cognitive behavioral therapy. These tend to be people who are more fatalistic, and or psychologically inclined people who tend to favor a pharmaceutical intervention much more strongly. And now, not to be too accusatory, but it's a lot of the people who put forward a lot of the same kinds of approaches to mental health that you seem to defend a lot, this kid. They seem very skeptical of stoicism and cognitive behavioral therapy. A lot of the people who identify with mental health disorders and things like that. Not to rehash old disputes, but it tends to shake out in roughly that direction. Again, at least in my experience with talking to professionals in those fields.
You sure this information's good?
Information is my weapon, Shepard. It's good.
Okay.
Send me the coordinates and I'll take care of it.
Already sent. Once you're aboard the ship, establish an uplink with Edie. She'll mine their data for information regarding the Omega-4 relay. Good luck, Shepard.
Coordinates punched in. Let's go find us a collector ship.
Okay then. Let's do it. Yeah, I think I'm taking Jack and Jacob on this one. Need biotics. I guess. His two outfits are so similar. WizKid says, trauma of that magnitude anyway. Nihilism will get you nowhere. Somewhere. Not somewhere you want to go. And to the point of drug-based approaches, they work best when the brain imbalances are the only issue. Everything else is best dealt with. Yeah, I agree. I think modern psychology in general has a lack of a distinction between neurological and mental disorders, where we really need to distinguish those more clearly. Oh, that's cool. Oh, hell yeah. Hold on. Let's take a look specifically at Jack. Look at Punk. Love that. All right, that's definitely our go-to outfit now. That's awesome. That's great. It's fantastic. Punk as hell. I'm gonna wait because I'm going for over. Actually, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna go over. Pullfield. Yeah. Barrier. I'll wait for reload probably. Yeah. Particle beam. Eviscerator is better. Switch Jacob as well. Play. Do it. Yeah, those shades. Tell you what, those are some classy shades. Actually, one of them should probably. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I love those shades. WizKid says, if anybody was going to be punk in this game, it's definitely Jack.
We have a visual on the
100%.
collector ship, Commander.
Very low emissions. Passive infrared temperatures suggest most systems are offline. Thrusters are cold.
That thing is massive. How the hell did the Turians take it out?
Big ship.
LADAR scans do not detect
Good night,
any hull
Andrea.
breaches
Thanks
on the
for stopping
side
by.
facing us.
Till
I
next
detect no Mass Effect field distortions. It appears the drive core is offline.
Rendezvous in 30 seconds, Commander. Good luck.
Okay, sounds like a good time, huh? This is one of the very nicely done creepy missions.
Weirdest looking ship I've ever seen.
Looks like a giant insect hive.
Penetrating scans have detected an access node to uplink with collector databanks. Marking location to your hardsuit computer.
Change weapons.
Right.
Right. Aesthetic, yeah. And, you know, yes, I guess. It has an aesthetic to it, let's say. It's a definite creepy
I've
aesthetic.
compared the ship's EM signature to known collector profiles. It is the vessel you encountered on Horizon.
Maybe the defense towers softened it for the Turians.
The colonists might be on board. If they're still alive.
Yeah, even the sort of proportions of the structures are just off. It's all very organic. It's like you're inside, like you said, like Jack said, sorry.
Same containers as on Horizon. Only these are empty.
Can't imagine that. Trapped in there at the mercy of the collectors.
Oh, that's a cool breath mask too. Fits with the shades. That's cool. Alright, I dig it. An effectively creepy one too. Skyrim dungeon. This is not. Yeah, definitely. Skyrim dungeons tend to be pretty samey. They don't have the kinds of proportions like this because again, you're in a way more open. Your ability to move around in something like Skyrim is way more open. So you know there would be a danger of I can just climb over there. You can get to places you're not supposed to go. Here,
this looks bad.
It has pretty much you're railroaded to an extent. Straight into the pile of bodies. So they can afford really disturbing design aesthetics like this. It's glowing eggs.
Why would the collectors just leave a pile of bodies lying around?
Test subjects, maybe. Like dumping a control group.
They didn't deserve this. You get what you get. Deserve's got nothing to do with it.
That shot though, right through the hand too. Ugh. Oh, ain't right. Right. Dead collectors. Also the little the bug noises. That really adds to the creepiness, doesn't it? Oh man, everything about this is just unsettling. The music, the ambience, the quiet. Just wait, WizKid.
That's a collector. Are you saying those bastards even experimented on one of their own?
Edie, I'm uploading the data from this terminal. See if you can figure out what they were up to.
It's worse.
Data received. Analyzing. The collectors were running baseline genetic comparisons between their species and humanity.
Unsettling.
Are they looking for similarities?
I have no hypothesis on their motivations. All I have are the preliminary results. They reveal something remarkable. A quad-strand genetic structure identical to traces collected from ancient ruins. Only one race is known to have this structure, the Protheans.
Big revelation moment. Yeah. WizKid also says, yeah, we're evolved to be disdainful of bugs and anything insect-like. This is an obvious reason. I don't know if this is a reason why. But this surely does play on that. Yeah, the collectors are Protheans.
My God.
Were.
The Protheans didn't vanish. They're just working for the Reapers now.
These are no longer Prothean, Shepard. Their genes show distinct signs of extensive genetic rewrite. The Reapers have repurposed them to suit their needs.
You'd think somebody would have picked up on this.
No one has had an opportunity to study a collector genetic code in this detail. I have already matched 2,000 alleles to recorded fragments. This collector likely descends from a Prothean colony in the Styx Theta cluster, but there are signs of extreme alteration. 3 fewer chromosomes, reduced heterochromatin structure, elimination of superfluous junk sequences.
Reapers didn't wipe out the Protheans. They turned them into monsters and enslaved them. Still, they're working for the Reapers now, and we have to stop them.
I sure as hell won't follow the Protheans to this.
Let's find what we need before the collectors come to salvage this vessel. Move out.
Yeah, so basically, this is... it's definitely to assault rifle training. This is... The collectors are basically husks. Like the human husks we've been seeing, but of Prothean. WizKid says, bugs are the one thing we can't fight easily. How to use our brains more than our brawn with these beasties. Yeah, brains or electric fly swatters. It's a great way of handling it. That human ingenuity, gotta love it. Definitely assault rifle training, though. Yeah, I pick it up and I learn how to use it. Bam. Definitely gonna switch to a different assault rifle, though. This one's kind of mediocre. It's a 3-round burst. 1-0. Oh. Let's switch. Vindicator for the Attic. Oh, wait a minute. The Collector assault. Oh, Collector assault rifle. I'm gonna try it for a second. See how it works. Ooh. That's kind of nice. No, I already have close range, and I already have mid-range. I need long range. But I don't want to do sniper rifles because they're very restrictive. I'm probably going to go with... You know what? I'm going to stick with the Collector Assault Rifle for this mission. Just for this mission. I might switch it to the Matic later. But for now, I'm going to stick with the Collector Assault Rifle. I'm going to see how it is. Yes, it is. It's very Halo aesthetic. You know what else the kind of Collector organic technology is? That's a lot of pop.
On the ceiling, more pods.
Yeah, is
I wonder how many
what was it called? The Conduit.
Too many.
It was for the Wii, I think, and maybe exclusive. It was a first-person shooter about like, conspiracy theories, and you are an agent of a secret organization that is investigating aliens and something like that. I forget the plot exactly. It was cool. It was fun. It's a good game, and it really utilized the Wii motion controls spectacular. Like, it turned out it was basically controlled like it was mouse and keyboard, but with Wii remote and nunchuck, and honestly better than mouse in terms of like point and shoot accuracy. It was great. It proved the untapped potential of the Wii for shooters. Before we move on and get some more crazy revelations, yeah, actually, yes, kind of like the Zerg, but in web. Yeah. Any insectoid aliens? I'm I mean, even the arachnids from Starship Troopers are decently similar to that sort of thing. But yeah, it's so the insectoid thing. And speaking of stoicism, I don't know if I've told this story on stream before.
Commander, you gotta hear this.
But the story of my passing arachnophobia.
Profile against data recorded by the original Normandy 2 years ago. They are an exact match.
The same ship dogging me for 2 years? Way beyond coincidence.
Something doesn't add up, Commander. Watch your back.
This is apparently the exact ship that blew up the original Normandy. Disturbing. But yeah, so I used to be deathly afraid of spiders. For the longest time. I couldn't even be in the same room as a spider. I couldn't bring myself to. Erica can attest to this if she wants to in the chat, and make fun of me to her heart's content about it.
They couldn't fill all those pods, even if they took every colonist in the terminus.
Earth. They have to be after Earth.
Not if we stop them.
No. Whiskey says there's something to be said for movement controls. They just need to be applied correctly and enhance the experience as opposed to getting in the way. Yeah, a lot of Wii games, especially shooters, did a really good job of it. Metroid Prime 3, Corruption, was another example of it done very, very well. But yeah, so I was, for the longest time, absolutely terrified of spiders. And it's that innate human distrust of arachnids and such. Things with too many legs. Insectoid stuff.
There, on the platform. Control panel.
Before I do this, I want to finish
Where
the
are the
story.
bodies from the crew? Something's wrong here.
Right, Jack? I'm not going to do this just yet. Wait a second. So I can tell my story as I gaze up here. So it was very, very bad. My arachnophobia was crippling. The reason behind this was a trick I played on myself, more or less. When I was in like first grade or whatever, my teacher asked the question you would ask a first grader, which is, what are you afraid of? It was a class exercise kind of thing. You know, everybody has to talk about what they're afraid of, that kind of thing. Resident Evil 4. Yeah, another good example. So, me being your average 6-year-old boy, I told the truth, and I said nothing, because I had no fear when I was 6. There wasn't anything in particular I was actually afraid of. But my teacher also naturally thought I was lying. Because, you know, everybody's afraid of something, right? Turns out I wasn't, but whatever. So despite not being afraid of something, I thought, all right, what can I say I'm afraid of? So, at the time, I knew a lot about spiders. I thought they were really cool. So, and I also happen to know a lot of people were afraid of spiders, and I understood why, right? They're creepy. They have too many legs, and they spin webs, and they're all venomous. They all have fangs. They all bite you and stuff. So I said, okay, I guess I'm afraid of spiders. Why not? I'll be afraid of spiders. So I became afraid of spiders. Gradually, more and more so, until I was cripplingly afraid of spiders by the time I was a teenager. And this lasted until I moved to where we're living now, which is out in the middle of nowhere. And if you know anything about the middle of nowhere, it's full of spiders. Of course it is, especially in Florida. One summer night after moving in, on a very, very rainy summer night, when everything was flooding and the spiders were all trying to seek shelter, and they found this nice, fancy new house where they could seek shelter. That fancy house, not very fancy, but new, happened to be my house. So on this evening, there was not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 wolf spiders. Those are the big ones that crawl across the floor about the size of your palm. In the house, in one night. Those are just the ones that I saw. This is when I decided I had had enough. I had to develop past this and find a solution to my absolutely crippling arachnophobia because I could not sleep. It was either that or burn the house down. I did not want to burn a new house down. So since then, using techniques of stoicism and cognitive behavioral therapy, I've since more or less corrected my spiders. To the point where I can totally live comfortably with at least jumping spiders. They're actually kind of cute. I can deal with wolf spiders. I'm still not a big fan of things like, you know, the dangerous ones like black widows and brown recluses and whatnot, because, you know, they're actually dangerous. But I can live with them. I can live with most spiders. We also have this weird species. I don't know actually what it is, but it looks like a Skulltula. It literally looks like a Skulltula. They're about this big. They're not that big, but they're really angular and spiky. Not spiky. Those are crab spiders, not those. But they're just really disturbing looking. I don't like them. Still don't like those. But whatever. For the most part, I'm decently okay with spiders these days. Much better than I used to be. I can go into how I did so. It was quite a long process of fixing the problem. If you guys are interested. Yeah, it's...
Edie, I'm setting up a bridge between you and the collector ship.
Again, using
See
the
if you
same
can get
kinds of
anything useful from the databanks.
Oh, not those.
Data
I don't
mining
really like
progress,
those either because they eat frogs and the frogs scream to death while they're being chewed on. Crab spiders I don't really mind.
That can't be good.
The Collector General, which looks very much like the spiders I don't like still. Yeah, golden orb weavers I don't like. They're very large. They hunt very large creatures. Oh, we have a freshly dead one that Angel just found and swatted to death. That's good. Normally you're supposed to get acclimated to it slowly, but one hell of a flooding experience fireman. Yeah, exposure therapy kind of thing. It's not what I did. That's just what made me recognize I had a problem that I needed to solve. I solved the problem separately, which I'll get into while we're fighting. Yeah, I don't know, Erica, if you can think of what I'm thinking of. It's the ones that hang out above our fences. Make their massive webs, they're really large, like wide webs above our fence, like our side gates. Those ones that I'm talking about. Yeah, anything that can make a frog scream gets a nope from me. Yeah, frogs are supposed to eat spiders, not the other way around. Any spider that eats frogs is not a spider that I like. I like frogs.
Everyone's alright, Joker. What just happened?
Major power surge. Everything went dark, but we're back up now.
I managed to divert the majority of the overload to non-critical systems. Shepard, it was not a malfunction. This was a trap.
Of course it was. Wait, those are types of orb weavers? Are they really? I didn't realize that. Okay, I will take your word for it then. Yeah, Erica knows local Florida wildlife.
We need a little help here, Edie.
So, which is ironic, because like I said, I used to train alligators and guide tours about Florida wildlife, so... Come on, Jack. Stick to your feet. Uh-oh.
Connection reestablished. I need to finish the download before I can override any systems.
And you better get it done fast, Edie.
We've got company.
Oh, it's a scion. I hate those bastards.
Hello, dead people.
Go away.
Assuming direct control. The forces of the universe bend to me.
41% complete.
Come on, Edie, speed it up.
Another platform coming in.
Darn it. Wrong weapon. This one.
I'll kill you all!
Assume control of this form.
Anyway, so while I'm not really as able to watch you guys chat,
Trouble incoming!
basically how I did the whole spider, the arachnophobia cure thing, was rather than whenever I encountered a spider, one might think the ordinary proper response would be to kill it, right? That would be, right? We might think of that as a way to alleviate one's fear. However, realistically, that is going to just exacerbate your fear because you're training your fight or flight response.
Target down! Assuming control.
Right, you're training to increase your fight or flight
Assuming
response.
control of this form.
Stoicism is all about managing one's reactions to something. And anything in particular, and especially perceiving something as a threat or not a threat.
You will know pain, Shepard.
Nothing's gonna hurt me now. Yeah.
And so, what I kind of trained myself to do was react to the spider as if it were not a threat, because
Shepard,
realistically,
you must
most of them
manually re-establish my link to the command console.
So the way you do this, or the way I did this, was when I encounter a spider, I react calmly, rather than, screaming, running away, trying to stomp the thing, acting as if the thing is a threat. I act as if the thing is just either a nuisance, it's in the way, or just something that I just don't need in my house. Something to put outside. And so what I usually will do is either if I
Shepard, you must
still don't like doing this necessarily, but catch it, put it outside, or help Erica do so, or she can do it, or I can do it, whatever, but treat it as not threatening, because realistically, it's not threatening. So treating it appropriately as non-threatening is the way to train oneself to think of it as non-threatening, and so reduce one's fear. So that's the idea, the sort of short idea. This is
I've
obviously
regained control of the platform, Shepard.
Obviously, something I'm still working on. This is not an instantaneous process because it's a sort of gradual process of moral training, in a sense. It's character training. It's training of virtue, which takes time, takes effort.
I knew you wouldn't let us down, Edie.
I always work at optimal capacity.
Did you get what we needed?
I found data that would help us successfully navigate the Omega-4 relay. I have also found a Turian distress call that served as the lure for this trap. The collectors were the source. It is unusual.
Seems logical to me that they would have sent the initial message as bait.
No, it is unusual because Turian emergency channels have secondary encryption. It is corrupted in the message. It is not possible that the elusive man would believe the distress call was genuine.
Why are you so sure?
I found the anomaly with Cerberus detection protocols. He wrote them.
He knew it was a trap? Why would he send us into a trap?
Son of a bitch.
That son of a bitch sent us right into collector hands.
I knew Cerberus would screw me again. I'm gonna crush his head.
There's gotta be an explanation.
Do
the
it.
elusive man wouldn't do this. It doesn't make sense.
Commander, we got another problem. The collector ship is powering up.
You need to get out of there before their weapons come online. I'm not losing another Normandy.
I do not have full control of their systems. I will do what I can. Sending coordinates for shuttle extraction.
Come on, let's move.
Biscuit, I think you're right. I think the elusive man might just be an asshole. He might have been all along. Who even knows? Who knows? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, just wait until he gives his bullshit response and his, his reasoning and justification for it. No, he is not trustworthy for a second. Very clearly at this point. He has his reasons, to be fair, but they are bad reasons.
Incoming! Barriers up!
It's pretty good. Rifle. I like it.
Assuming direct control.
Nobody's got warp, darn it. Okay, fine, I'll do it.
I'll destroy you!
You are a harbinger of your destiny. Your form is fragile.
Come on. Let's switch.
Resist.
Right!
You will know pain, Shepard.
Got him. Shields a little bit, but it's fine. Whiskey says, honestly, though, his being a dickhead is a big part of his charm, annoyingly. Yeah, okay. That's fair. It's a major aspect of his character that he is unscrupulous, and it really is... There is something charming about it, to an extent. So, that's true. It's true as far as...
On the right!
Assuming direct control.
Darn it.
I'll kill you all! I can take you all!
Can you, though? Maybe, but...
I will direct this personally.
Going up a barrier.
I will show you true power. Be our harbinger. Attack.
My shields are down.
This form is irrelevant.
This should take the heat off.
This is a rough combat.
Destroy you! Got you!
Okay. Is that it? Oh yeah, Jack is powered by pure anger. Just pure concentrated fury. I mean, understandable. She was basically tortured for her entire childhood, so, you know, makes sense. Ezo. Nice. Medkit, nice. Is that it? Where am I supposed to go? Okay. Up. Oh, here we go.
A door on the far side of the room.
Unity. Who's dead? No one's dead. Everyone's fine.
That should take the heat off.
Jack. Jack, what happened?
Gotta hurt.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah, so the good thing about husks in this game is that they instantly die if you crowd control them. Which is why I had like things like Profield.
My attack didn't work!
This is actually working okay.
Damn it. Lock.
Ouch. Oops. Oh. There we go. Okay.
My attack didn't work!
Great.
Nothing's gonna hurt me now.
I mean, that's true. You're fine. Ah!
Throwing up a barrier.
My attack didn't work!
Yeah, I know.
Nothing's
gonna hurt me now.
There we go. Jesus. All right. Yes. Yeah, Jack had nothing like healthy coping mechanisms because, you know, she was in a Cerberus facility being tortured to develop her biotic powers. Which we're going to visit probably next week. Yes, Erica says, I hate this level and I hate Praetorians. Yeah, same.
Edie, we got a problem here.
A temporary setback on Firewall 3217. Rerouting commands through Firewall 7164.
Yeah, I also hate this level and I hate Praetorians.
I have
The big
successfully
floaty
opened a door
crap
on the
things.
opposite wall.
Just killed.
I will keep it open as long as I can.
Right, let's do it.
Down there. That's where we came in.
We must be getting close to the end.
Okay.
This is valuable.
Tech damage, nice. Need that. What's this? Hey look, strategic cover.
Up front! Nothing's gonna... You're done! Your attacks are primitive. This hurts you. This is true power. The dead are useless. You cannot sustain your attack. This is what you face. Take the heat off.
Okay. Yeah, the possessed ones are actually also kind of rough to fight. There's a flow to it.
Come here! Switch up. Change weapons.
Hostiles! Assuming control. Kill one and 100 will replace it. We are the harbinger of your destiny.
Alright, I honestly hate Scions almost as much, though, I'd say.
Nothing can stop me!
Voices remind me of the Protoss, specifically the Dark Templars. From what? It's not ringing a bell. And by their voice, their voices, you mean their voice. That is Harbinger. That is the leader of the Collectors, assuming direct control for any given one
Those
Collector.
weapons are about to come online. Might want to double time it, you know, so we can leave before they blow the Normandy in half.
So I'll just drop it in there. Oh, from the original StarCraft. Okay, I have not played StarCraft, so... Ah, great.
That should take the heat off.
Go away. Go away. Go away.
I'll kill you all!
Away. Away. That it?
Nothing's gonna hurt me now.
Away. 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 Yeah, I have not played StarCraft. Sorry. Yeah, I know it's shocking. There are actually a lot of gaps in my, especially gaming.
You heard the man. Everybody onto the Normandy. Move!
Strap in, people!
Let's go.
I'm gonna make it work for you this time.
And probably let's round it FD out. Like, the elevator moved awfully quick this time, I think.
can't dodge this guy forever, Edie. Get us the hell out of here.
Specify a destination, Mr. Moreau.
Anywhere that's not here.
It's close.
Very well. Engaging Mass Effect core.
Edie, point the ship away from it and hit the gas. All right. Yeah. All right. Nice. I learned assault rifles. I am probably going to switch to the Matic, though. Honestly, it's single fire, much longer range, higher accuracy. Stuff. All right. Cool. Get this done. All right. We'll see what else. See what else next. We'll see if Thane gives us his loyalty mission as well. Thane and Garrus both have their loyalty missions on the Citadel. No, I don't have a use for shotguns.
Call coming in from the Elusive Man, Commander.
Not
Figured
a
you got a few
Vanguard.
words for him, too.
Vanguards use shotguns. I'm mid to long range as a sentinel.
Shepard, looks like Edie extracted some interesting data before the collector ship came back online.
Edie told us the distress call originated from the collectors. You betrayed us, just like I knew you would.
We're at war. Without that information, we don't reach the collector homeworld.
Oops.
And
Sorry
you
about that,
and
guys.
every other human may as well be dead. It was a trap. But I was confident in your abilities. And don't forget Edie. The collectors couldn't have anticipated her.
Sorry about the hiccup. I don't know what happened. It was weird. Glitch in my streaming software, I think. Unfortunate that we got to miss a little bit of the Elusive Man being elusive. But things happen. Yep, still bullshit.
You could have told me the plan. You say I'm important, but you sure try hard to get me killed.
I needed the collectors to believe they had the upper hand. Telling you could have tipped them off in any number of ways. Besides, I wouldn't have sent you in if I didn't think you could succeed.
Listen, Tim. This communication that we have here is point-to-point, secured by the laws of physics, as stated in this game. I think you could have told me.
I don't risk people. There are always alternatives.
You may not like being on the receiving end, neither would I. But the facts are with me. As much as we try to avoid them, these decisions need to be made. But more importantly, it paid off. Edie confirmed our suspicions.
Consequentialist bastard.
The Reapers and Collector ships use an advanced identify friend-foe system that the relays recognize. All we need to do is get our hands on one of those IFFs.
Yeah, WizKid says he's talking like a parent. Like, literally, that's how parents justify pushing their kids too hard. Yeah, to an extent, right? I knew you could handle it. Or, I lied so that you could do the thing that I wanted to do, right? Very consequentialist reasoning to do something that was very dangerous and untrustworthy.
I was just on the collector's ship. Why didn't you say anything about finding their IFF?
As I said, Edie just confirmed it. Besides, you wouldn't have had time to find and extract it. But we have options. An Alliance science team recently determined that the Great Rift on the planet Klendigan is actually an impact crater from a mass accelerator weapon. A very old mass accelerator. I sent a team to find either the weapon or its target. They found both. The weapon was defunct, but it helped us plot the flight path of the intended target. A 37-million-year-old derelict Reaper. We found it damaged and trapped in the gravity of a brown dwarf.
Kylie says, got to log off early. Just remembered I have a quiz tomorrow and review tonight. Good night, everyone. Love the live stream and can't wait for the next one. Good night. Good night, Kylie. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck on the quiz tomorrow. See you later. Listen. Listen, WizKid. Liked his old school voices. And the pause between speech. Fun fact about this. that Martin Sheen, to do the voice of the elusive man, Martin Sheen does not smoke. So what he did was record the voice lines of the dialogue. He would, instead of smoking a cigarette, or in this case a cigar, he would pause and puff on the backside of a pencil while recording the lines so he could get the vocal inflection. Neat story. As far as I know, entirely true. And it really does add to the gravitas of the character. Yeah, it's pretty great. So,
Aren't brown dwarfs basically stars that didn't quite make it?
Simply put, but accurate. They're gas giants that don't quite have the masses of stars. Expect gale force winds and extremely high temperatures. The Reaper has a mass effect field that keeps it in orbit, likely an automated response to the external threats. It's stable, but I won't call it safe.
I saw what Sovereign did to the Citadel fleet. Hard to imagine anything could stop something that powerful.
This vessel is a relic from a battle waged while mammals took their first steps on Earth. There's no trace of the species that took the shot. Perhaps it was their one moment of defiance before being wiped out.
Yeah. So this was, 37 million years ago. This cycle has been going on for a very long time. Also, that was the last recorded kill of a Reaper before Sovereign. Again, puts into perspective the incredible efficiency of the cycle. And how incredibly badass this cycle is for how many Reapers we get killed in the war. WizKid says, I love the little touches like that. It adds to his order of I'm an asshole, but you need. Yeah, very much so. Also, I need to get to the part where actually it might be right now, so I might actually just save it and just wait. So I'm gonna go see what Ken downstairs in engineering say.
I get the feeling this isn't going to be a simple
About
swing by and pick up our package.
We lost contact with Dr. Chandana's team shortly after they boarded. Initial reconnaissance revealed no clues, and it was too risky to commit more resources. But now we need that IFF. I'll forward the coordinates to Joker. In the meantime, I suggest you tell your crew I didn't risk their lives unnecessarily. It will make things easier going forward.
Edie, tell the crew to assemble. We've got a lot to talk about.
Of course, Shepard.
Hey. At this point, you can go straight for the Reaper. The Derelict Reaper. We're not going to do that.
So the elusive man didn't sell us out. Could have fooled me.
Lied to us, used us, needed access to the Collector databanks. Necessary risk.
He tries something like that again and the Collectors will be the least of his problems. Edie, are you sure this IFF is gonna work?
My analysis is accurate, Shepard. I have also determined the approximate location of the Collector homeworld based on navigational data from their vessel.
That can't be right.
Yeah, Morden is STG, so he's unscrupulous to the core.
Better run the diagnostics, Joker. Looks like our AI's got a bug in the software.
My calculations are correct. The Collector homeworld is located within the galactic core.
Can't be. Earth. The core is just black holes and exploding suns. There are no habitable planets there.
Could be an artificial construction, space station protected by powerful mass effect fields and radiation shields.
Even the Collectors don't have that kind of technology.
The Collectors are just servants of our real enemy. And we've all seen what their masters are capable of. They built the mass relays and the Citadel. Who's to say they can't build a space station surrounded by black holes? No wonder nobody's ever returned from a trip through the Omega-4 mass relay.
The logical conclusion is that a small safe zone exists on the far side of the relay, a region where ships can survive. Standard relay transit protocols would not allow safe transport. Drift of several thousand kilometers is common, and would be fatal in the galactic core. The Reaper IFF must trigger the relay to use more advanced encrypted protocols.
That is a hell of a leap in logic, but makes sense.
Just because we can follow the Collectors through the relay doesn't mean we can take them out. I don't want to go after them until I know we're ready.
Sooner or later, we need that IFF. I say, why wait?
It's a derelict Reaper. What if the Collectors are waiting for us? We may want to build up our team before we take that kind of risk.
The more people we have on our side, the better our chances of success. We need to keep building up the team.
It's your call, Commander. Whatever you decide, we're with you.
Loyalty missions. Yay! Which we have time for one, I think. Maybe. Or it's just a side questy type thing. Side quest. Right. Well, let's switch back to the Matic. Heavy rifle. Medium range semi-automatic rifle. Effective against armor, shields, and barriers. Upgrades the Avenger assault rifle. Let's go with it. Okay. Switch back to the arc projector because I have an idea of what X.
Thanks for diverting to the Gurns back, Shepard. I appreciate being able to clean up that mess. Maybe not the best way to learn about the relatives, but I'm glad it's done. What do you need?
I'm interested in getting to know you better.
Already? I'm not big on forcing these talks, Shepard. Let's do this later.
We'll talk later.
Commander.
Okay. I figured he'd have something more. Okay. WizKid says, I love how Jacob gives it a nice little salute.
Commander,
while
you
Mordin
received a new
just
message
nods
at
his
your
head and
private
walks
terminal.
away awkwardly. Spurg. That's rude. But yes. Very rude to point. True, but it's rude. Protection. Yeah, we. Hard shields. We have palladium. Oh yes, shields take 25% less damage. That's perfect. Yeah, tech damage. We need it. Well, upgrades. Nah. Prototypes. Nah. We're good. Okay. This kid says, I never said I wasn't an asshole. Mostly I'm just overly polite, so it bounces out. Fair enough.
You had me so worried when you were trapped on the collector ship. Thank goodness for Edie.
The Normandy crew delivered, including you.
You're too kind. We were there to help, but Edie gets the credit this time. The Elusive Man made sure Edie was installed for this mission. Now I see why. Anyway, how may I help you, Commander?
Do you have a moment to talk?
I always have time for you, Commander.
Uh-oh.
I better go.
Okay. Commander, you might want to speak with Tally. She seems very worried about something.
Ooh, yeah, let's definitely do that one next time. A really good one. Let's go to the captain's cabin. I want to take the time. I want to take our time on the one with Allie's loyalty. It's a really... Messages. An important request. Sir or madam. Hey, look. Fishing. Please transfer me 20,000 credits. Go away. From Leslie. I was on Aya. Food made me sick. The doctors are helping me now. One doctor knows Jacob. He says he can tell you this. He could write this for me, but I want to do it. Words. My words are coming back. I could talk well. Reading is hard, but I'm getting better. I have to get better. Taylor wanted me like this. He wanted my words gone. I have to show him that he lost. I'm not weak. He did things to me, and he can't now. He can't take away my words. He can't make me not me anymore. Because you and Jacob stopped him. Thank you, Leslie. That is... Yeah. Very glad. Hey, Caden. Yeah, so let's go down and talk to Ken. It's Ken Donnelly. Also talk to Tally. Or Best Girl. It says. I didn't forget the fish. Fish.
So, Kenneth, did you know we've got a crazy woman squatting down in the subdeck?
What? If she touches anything, I'll kill her.
Oh, and the only thing she wears from her waist up is tattoos.
Oh, maybe I should go down and welcome her aboard.
And she's a murderer, has biotic powers that could crush you with a blink, hates everyone in Cerberus.
Damn it, girl. Stop toying with me.
Not the dialogue I was hoping for. Let's see if we can...
What can we do for you, Commander?
What do you think about Cerberus?
Actually, we don't know much about the organization other than the Normandy team. We know our mission and who's in charge.
We're off to kick the collectors right in their daddy bags. That's enough for me.
Carry on.
Will do, Commander.
I love Scottish phraseology. Wait, where's Tally? Supposed to be right here. Really right here. Oh, she's over there. Okay. Let's talk to Tally and then let's head back down. And
I've got
I
a
want to see if he
problem
has
and I
more to
may
say.
need your help. But I need to ask you something first. I need to know if I can trust you. Some of this might involve fleet security. Cerberus cannot be involved.
You have my word. If necessary, I'll contact the elusive man to make sure he stays out.
Don't bother. He just lied to you. Hearing it from you is enough.
It's true.
I just received a message from the migrant fleet. The Admiralty Board has accused me of treason. I'm scared, Shepard.
Nobody who knows you could believe you'd betray your people, Tally.
I don't know. They don't lay charges like this unless the evidence seems absolute. But thanks. I appreciate your faith in me, Shepard.
Is it because you're working with Cerberus?
I'm not working with Cerberus. I'm working with you. And I got leave to serve on the Normandy again. I have no idea what they're accusing me of. You'd think I would remember if I betrayed the fleet.
What happens when a Quarian is accused of treason?
There's a hearing, with members of the Admiralty Board acting as judges. My father is an admiral on the board. He'll have to recuse himself from judgment. I can't even imagine what he's thinking right now. The punishment for treason is exile. If they convict me, I can never go back.
What happens if you're convicted?
Like I said, exile. The specifics are up to the judges. If it's deemed only a tragic mistake in judgment, the guilty party might receive a small ship and supplies. Not that it really matters. Either way, if I'm convicted, I'll never see the migrant fleet again.
So, no prison and no death penalty?
We don't have the spare resources for long-term incarceration. Monitored work detail is more effective. And we don't have enough people to afford executions. An exile can still have children, and those children are welcomed back to the fleet.
Okay.
How often is someone from the fleet charged with treason?
It's rare. It must be something that affects the entire flotilla, not just one ship. The most recent one was Honora Vanya Vassilani, an engineer who handed over fleet defense schematics to the Batarians. She had good intentions. The Batarians were contracted to upgrade our systems, but they passed the defense schematics to a pirate gang.
Was she convicted?
No. She made a suicide run on the pirate gang. She destroyed them before they could attack the fleet. She was pardoned posthumously. Let's hope I don't have to prove my innocence that way.
What with that story, WizKid? No, we do not meet her. Name does sound familiar otherwise, though. It could be that we meet somebody else from the same ship, so they have the same surname.
So you have no idea why they're accusing you?
None. The specifics of charges like this are rarely discussed on open channels. I won't know any more until I get to the flotilla.
So how does the trial work? How soon do we need to get you there?
They'll wait a reasonable period of time for me to come and defend myself. Eventually, if I don't show up, they'll try me in absentia. As for how it works, it's less formal than an Earth trial or something you'd see on the Citadel. We're family. This is just the worst kind of family meeting.
Okay, let's go find the flotilla.
I was going to book passage on another ship. I didn't think there would be time for you to help. Thank you, Shepard. I'll program the Normandy with the flotilla's current location. The admirals will be waiting for us.
Yeah, so we are going to help. Like I said, probably next week. Got a half an hour, and that is not enough time for this mission. Let's just go up a level and then back down a level so we can see if we can get more dialogue from Donnelly. There is something specific about the elusive man that I want to trigger, and I think it triggers at this point, roughly this point. It doesn't.
What can we do for you, Commander?
Carry on.
Will do, Commander.
Maybe the line I'm thinking of, it might be in Mass Effect 3. It might be in Mass Effect 3. Basically, he comments on the Elusive Man's choice of liquor. Basically, he talks about how the Elusive Man drinks bourbon, and how bourbon is the whiskey of psychopaths. A proper gentleman drinks scotch. Alright, so let's do... Not that. I'll do some exploration on here again off stream. Let's not do IFF. Let's not do the smuggled cargo. I definitely want to get Tally's loyalty first, because she's very useful there. Garrus, but I also want to wait until I get Thane's loyalty mission. Well, let's do this one. Let's save a crashing ship. That's always a good one. Do that. Yes, WizKid, this is where I get that from. I also get it from the fact that it is a fact. That bourbon is the whiskey of psychopaths. The MSV Broken Arrow. Full of geth, apparently. But yes, I got this roughly from Donnelly. I also, like I said, I got it from the fact that it is a fact that bourbon is the whiskey of psychopaths, and that one ought to instead drink scotch. Allie Harris? It's Geth? Garrus. Nice. Overload. Area or heavy? Let's do heavy. Allie. Wait until energy drain because it's very, very good. Yeah, good. Yes. No, I say the fact because it's a fact. It's not a fact because it's a fact. Say it because it's a fact. It's fine. Wait, Vindicator? Yeah, Matic, not Vindicator. Tally Scimitar. Yes, Plasma Shot. That'll do it.
Warning. Collision with the planet's surface is imminent. I am transmitting a countdown to advise you of the time remaining until impact.
Captain's log. Thankfully, the timer pauses for me to read. I'm moving the ship to yellow alert. We have seen no signs of trouble. I'm not so sure we won't run into any geth out this far. We'll have to be prepared for anything. I've been told it's a terrible idea to go this far out towards geth territory, but these colonies need to defend themselves. Sometimes I think the only thing keeping the crew from shriveling up in fear is the 100 crates of military-grade weaponry on board. A little shore leave when we get to the Nerif system? Best guess. Will do us all some good. We have a lot of deliveries out to make, so let's not get not going to get it any friendlier. Red alert! Moving the ship to red alert. The Geth are attacking. We're ill-equipped for an attack of this magnitude, but we'll do everything we can to survive this. These colonies need these weapons. This attack is further proof of how dire the situation is in here. Signing off. This will be the last entry in this log. Given the severity of the Geth attack, I've ordered all hands to evacuate, head toward the colony. Should the Geth succeed in capturing this ship, they also gain control of 100 crates of weapons in the cargo hold. Therefore, I'm using my authorization codes to scuttle the ship, hopefully destroying the Geth that remain aboard. I intend to stay aboard to make sure the ship dies gracefully. That was probably the guy that just executed. My plan is to disable the ship's engines, thus causing our orbit to decay. This will bring the MSV Broken Arrow down to the surface where self-destruct timer will destroy the ship. I must be careful. If I fail, there's no telling where the ship will end up. Hey, yep. Dude.
Light him up.
Iridium. Medical station. Where's the Iridium? There is 5 minutes until impact. That's good. Override. Ship system. Navigation out. Offline. Life support damaged. Hull breach detected. Engines disabled. Engage power complaints. Okay, cool. Let's do that. Rifle. Okay, just under 5 minutes. These Geth are very fragile in this game, especially compared to anyone. Geth were just super tanky. Ah!
Scratch one! Yes!
Darn it. Okay, come on.
Get them, Katika. Good girl.
Tika. It's her own, I think. Give us something. Us paws or something adorable. I love this cute little girl. Switch.
Change weapons!
Okay. Restart engines. Oh, great. It's 5 minutes. They're basically like the Borg, except purely synthetic. Borg are actually tough to kill. Yes, they're attacking still. It's good. Yeah, Borg are actually significantly tough to kill because the adaptability thing. Geth are, I think they're brittle in this game just because they're synthetic, so they rely on their shields and stuff. Which I guess is true. We started engine core. Nice.
That should do it.
So now we're not going to crash and die. Stabilize MSV Broken Arrow. Remaining Geth are disengaged. Colony is safe. Experience. Credits. Iridium. Nice. Oh, you meant the Geth from ME1. Yes. More so. The Geth and ME1 are they have a lot of similarities to the Borg, especially just sort of in their design aesthetic even. Very cable-y. Lots of just like power conduits all over.
How may I help you, Commander?
Is there anything I should know?
You have unread messages at your private terminal.
Of course.
Thane would like to see you down in life support on the crew deck. Anything else, Commander?
Let's check our messages, talk to Thane, and that'll probably do it.
Commander, you've received a new message at your private terminal.
That'll probably do it for tonight. I think, if I remember correctly, Thane has a good deal of stuff to say. Having to do with his loyalty. A bunch of cool lore dump stuff. To the Normandy, our thanks. From Raphael Cologne. That's a weird linguistic mix-up. Spanish and French. Governor of the Fargon colony. Normandy crew, we received your identity from the docking data aboard the MSV Broken Arrow. We're led to believe that your crew is responsible for saving our colony from a catastrophic event. Yeah, right. Not only to defeat the Geth and prevent the ship from crashing into the planet in a trajectory that would have destroyed our colony, but you have saved nearly 100 munitions crates that would have been lost in the ship's scuttling. Thanks to you, we're safe and can continue the Broken Arrow's work in arming the colonies on the fringe of Geth space. On behalf of the residents of the Fargon colony, you have our eternal gratitude. Thane has angst? I mean, kind of. It's completely understandable, though. Thane is dying and has a lot of dark family history to untangle. So, the angst is totally understandable for his case, at least in his case. And with Samara, you know, it's nothing to laugh at. Not that you were laughing; it's just pretty serious.
Shepard,
Is there something wrong?
Yes. Now that you are here, though, it seems more difficult to talk about.
I've got time. Take it at your own pace.
Thank you. I fear I've already done that for too long. I had a family once. I still have a son. His name is Kolyat. I haven't seen him for a very long time.
WizKid says, to be honest, all the angst in this game is 100% understandable and justified. It's still a little melodramatic that all of this angst gets piled onto one ship, right? But in each individual case, yeah, totally justified by what has gone on for everybody. Stories and whatnot.
Did something happen to them?
I abandoned them. Oh, not all at once. Nothing dramatic, no sneaking out in the middle of the night, no final argument or slammed door. I just did my job. I hunted and killed across the galaxy. Away on business, my wife would tell people. I was always away on business.
Yeah, he does look different. He's somber now. He's not the badass assassin who is killing 6 people at once. He is the calm, curved, and about his problems. His life. The problems with his life, you know.
How long's it been since you talked?
10 years. He showed me some of his schoolwork and asked if we could dance crazy. We did that when he was younger.
What sort of dance is that?
I checked my extranet contacts. I expect an update on my next target. The console plays music, old, unfashionable. Kolyat jumps into the room. Hi, father. Runs around in circles. I scoop him up, toss him into the air. He shrieks, laughs, spin me. The console beeps. I put him down. Click the message. Father, he pleads, tugs my sleeve. I need to read this, I say. I don't look at him.
More scaly, too. WizKid says. Less dramatic, cool and sexy, just a dying man whose disease is slowly. And is trying to make amends. Oddly similar to what we were talking about Thursday, about Arthur.
You never mentioned this before. Why now?
When my wife departed from her body, I attended to that issue. I left Kolyat in the care of his aunts and uncles. I have not seen him or talked to him since.
That's not the choice I expected. Why didn't you raise him yourself?
My body is blessed with the skills to take life. The Hanar honed them in me. I have few others. I didn't want that life for Kolyat. I hoped he would find his own way. If he hated me, so be it. He would not have shared the path of sin. I used my contacts to trace Kolyat. He has become disconnected. He does what his body wills.
Here's where we get into that cool Gnosticism that I was talking about. Growl beliefs. And again, I have no reason to believe that he's wrong about this. Right, we know that human beings are a hylomorphic composite of body and soul, but Drell might actually... They might be capable of this kind of disconnection he's talking, which, see what he's exactly talking about. And WizKid, yeah, he fell into hedonism, but it's more than that. Much, much more sophisticated than that. It's much more strange. So let's see what Dane describes it.
You'll have to explain that one to me.
Disconnected. The body is not our true self. The soul is. Body and soul work as one in a whole person. When the soul is weakened by despair or fear, when the body is ill or injured, the individual is disconnected, no longer whole.
See what I mean? So, disconnected is a kind of discontinuity between body and soul, the two parts of the person, which actually does kind of fit with the kind of framework that the body is a separate piece of oneself from the soul, which again doesn't quite fit with how he says that, you are your soul and the body is is not the self. What he says later on, right? What he says in the second part of that the body and soul work together to form a whole person. that's more hylomorphism. That's more like Aristotelian or Thomistic hylomorphism, rather than something Gnostic. So it's a little bit of a. I mean, I feel like it's maybe written by somebody who had an idea of this, but hadn't done quite enough research on the metaphysics. So it could be a writing thing. It could be Thane explaining it not perfectly. It could just be that it's right. It's not super clearly stated. And it could be either one. Right? It could really, realistically, based on what he says, it could go either way. It also could be that Drell bodies and souls operate in a different manner from human bodies and souls. It's theoretically possible. They could be embodied spirits rather than hylomorphic composites of body and soul. They could be fundamentally spiritual, inhabiting bodies. I do think that it is more like hylomorphism, though, based on at least the latter part of its description here. WizKid says it feels like a bit of a synthesis between, probably closer to reality, maybe. At least for Drell. For human beings, though, again, hylomorphism is more or less correct, right? So I would argue that the person is a body-soul composite, right? The body is an essential part of us. The soul is an essential part of us, which is why we refer to the saints in heaven, we're being precise, not as, St. Peter, but as the soul of St. Peter, at least until the resurrection. The only exception to this dogma is Mary, who is assumed body and soul, is the only whole person, the whole human person, the only whole strictly human person, discount Christ, the whole strictly human person in heaven, the only whole strictly heaven. There we go. That was hard to construct, but
what's wrong with him? Is he hurt?
Something happened that should not have. He knows where I've been, what I've done. I don't know his reasons, but he has gone to the Citadel. He's taken a job as a hitman. I would like your help to stop him. This is not a path he should walk.
You don't hire a raw rookie for a contract killing.
I'm afraid someone may have seen we share a name and assumed we share skills. I don't know why he would accept the task.
To be closer to you, maybe?
That thought haunts me more than any other.
Sins of the father or son. And he does not want them.
Maybe he name-dropped you to get hired.
It's possible, but I don't think so. It doesn't seem right. My name. He should not respect it.
What made him go to the Citadel?
Years ago, I prepared a package for him. A relic of my ill-spent life. I had Volus bankers store it, and arranged for delivery when I died. He acquired it early. I don't really know how. I did wet work on the Citadel around the time his mother died. That may be why he went there.
Thane, I don't have your contacts, and I don't have your tracking skills. Why do you need my help for this?
I don't need your help. I want it. The last time I saw my son, they wrapped her body in sea vines, weighted it with stones. He tries to pull from me, calls for her. The Hanar lift her off the platform. They sing like bells. The fire has gone to be kindled anew. He begs them not to take her away.
They let her body slide into the water. He hits me. Don't let them. Stop them. Why weren't you?
It rains. It always rains on Kaje. Warm water pours down his face.
I didn't mean to make you relive that.
Perfect memory. It is sometimes a burden.
So Drell, I think we went over this. Perfect memories. They can relive any experience that they've ever had perfectly. And he mentions that some Drell kind of get lost in this, but it's again a double-edged sword. You can relive good things, but you can also relive things like that. Yeah, they definitely are very lizard-like. Dictating memories, dual eyebrows, the sort of almost amphibious dirt pouch kind of thing. And the voice is very real. Yeah. The whole perfect memory thing is another very cool quality.
I'll get us to the Citadel as soon as possible.
Thank you, Shepard. I'll be meditating until you need me. Shepard, is there time to visit the Citadel yet?
Not yet.
I shall return to my meditations.
All right, well, we will do that next time. So it is edging very, very close to midnight. So next time we will do a bunch of loyalty missions. We'll do at least Tally, and probably both Garrus and Thane. We might also have time for Samara's. We will see. That one's not very combat heavy, so it doesn't take super long. Gosh, can you imagine something like Pebbles trying to imitate? Yeah, with the whole imitation of perfect memory. That'd be neat. Imitating the particular racial traits and whatnot. Yeah, I dig it. But yeah, so next time we will probably do a bunch of loyalty missions. Maybe all of them. I don't want to make that promise, but we'll definitely do tallies. We'll probably have time for both Garrus and Thane. We might also have time for Samara's. We'll see. And then we will probably save Grunt and Morden, all of the Tuchanka stuff, for the following week, because that's all one big. That is a couple of missions, both of which are very long, very complicated. So both of those probably the week, and that'll probably wrap up our loyalty missions. And then we'll do a bunch of side quests. Then we will be in the home stretch. So another 3-4 weeks, and then we'll finish the main game and get into the DLC stuff. So we got a bunch of DLC stuff coming. We've got Overlord, Rise of the Shadow, or Lair of the Shadow Broker, sorry, and we have Arrival. So stuff to go. Well, WizKid, only a couple weeks to go until the end of the main game, which itself is probably going to be 2 weeks, because we got the Reaper IFF mission. We've got another loyalty mission after that with a new character we get there. I don't want to say because spoilers. And then we have the suicide mission. The suicide mission is probably going to be most of a stream. Quite long, quite drawn out, quite elaborate. And then afterwards we can wrap anything up that we have up. Same with like we did last time with 1. Do a Q&A stuff at the end. And then move on to DLC, then move on to 3. So it'll be at least a few weeks. Don't you worry. Anyway, it'll be a lot of fun. Should be a good time. Definitely some good talks today. Thank you everybody for joining me who could join me, and I will, I guess, see you guys hopefully on Thursday. Expect another video coming out near the end of this week, I believe. That will, I believe, if everything goes according to plan, that will be the video on aesthetics and natural law. Biscuit, you've seen a preview of it. A good one. Anyway, with that, I will wish everybody good night, and I will see everybody next time. Night.